Okay, how weird does it feel to be called someone's fiance? The first time you hear it, you do a double take. Your heart kind of flutters, and before you know it, you go from let's just enjoy the moment to we're planning a fall wedding. That's where Zola comes in. Zola has everything you need to plan your wedding in one place and have fun along the way. From free planning tools like a budget tracker and website to a venue and vendor discovery tool that matches you with your dream team. Everything on Zola is designed to make your wedding journey as easy as possible, and with invites that can be completely customized, and a wedding registry packed with gifts you actually want. Zola takes you from save our date to thanks so much without breaking a sweat. From getting engaged to getting married, Zola has everything you need to plan your wedding in one place. Start planning at Zola.com. That's ZOLA.com.
Need for the game at Monticello.
Sports, opinions, and you. The station Lansing turns to for sports. The Game, 7:30 a.m. Welcome to the Sparrow Stout on Sports on Lansing Sports Station, The Game, 7:30 a.m. Starring the Dean of Mid-Michigan Sports, Tim Stout. The Sparrow Stout on Sports is Michigan's longest-running sports radio show. From the high schools to the colleges and the pros, Tim has you covered. Give Tim a call on the Culligan Water Hotline at 517-300-4263 or send him an email at tim.stout@wilx.com. Now, celebrating over 30 years on the radio in mid-Michigan and member of the Michigan Association of Broadcasters Hall of Fame, here's the Dean himself, Tim Stout.
On behalf of our partner, Shaheen Chevy Cadillac, good morning, everybody. Today is Friday, October 4th, 2024, a You Pick'em Michigan State Football Friday, and welcome to the Sparrow Stout on Sports right here on Lansing Sports Station. This is the Game, 7:30 a.m. It is the home of the local sports shows and programming in the area, and it's a long programming, busy day on a lot of the Town Square media stations here in the greater Lansing area today. We come to you live from the Driven Collision Studios here at WVFN. You'll find Driven Collision at 3200 West Main Street in Lansing. That's Joe Laird's Emporium, where banged-up vehicles come out looking brand new, frankly. 977-0955 gets you the appointment. If while yours is being repaired, you get a loaner if you need it, and they work with the insurance companies themselves to take that headache away from you. We'll have a Driven Collision story of the day as we go through the day on this Michigan State football You Pick 'em Friday. Brock's here. I'm Tim to get on the air. First come, first serve, guaranteed winner, okay? And the way we do the football You Pick 'em Fridays is very simple. You give a score, and then we chat about whatever subject, because there are a lot of sports topics, obviously, in October at this time of the year. It was 54 degrees when I walked in today. Might be a little overcast and a little bit of dampness this morning, but it's supposed to clear up this afternoon and be a good night tonight for high school football and everything else that is going on in the area. We'll have Quality Dairy Stats. Get the Quality Dairy mobile app. It's good for you. It saves you money. It's cider and donut season at all the Quality Dairy stores. We'll have Pure Green Smith 3 breaking sports moments. Pure Green Smith 3 is available for you at 703-1111. It is lawn aeration season. Why do the golf courses aerate the greens in the fall? Because it makes them look great in the spring. Do that for your lawn, and Pure Green Smith Tree will do that for you. To get on the air, as I say, the Culligan Water Hotline is 300-4263, and our email address is tim.stout@wilx.com. Through 5 Michigan State football games so far, no one has hit the exact score, but several of you have come within a couple of points, and then we proclaim a winner on Monday of those who came the closest, providing that you picked the correct team to win the game. We have a lot of other features going on today. It's a very busy day of sports in the area in a variety of ways. The tailgate show before the Michigan State game, which is at 9 o'clock tonight. That's on Fox, isn't it, Bragg? 9 o'clock on Fox tonight. It'll be about 12:30 in the morning without an overtime before Michigan State and Oregon get done. So the game starts in our area October 4th and likely will finish on October 5th. But that's the way it is at 6 p.m. out on the West Coast. So we'll take your scores there. The Tailgate Show on WJIM AM 1240 and WMMQ 94.9 today. That is from 5:30 to 7:30, and the network coverage begins 7:30 to 9. Brock's on the internet. He can tell you all about that. He's got Grand Ledge at Everett tonight. That's a 6 o'clock start. And then Friday Night Frenzy on Channel 10 with all the high school scores and highlights and anything else is coming up at 11:15 tonight on Channel 10. Fortunately, there are none of the baseball series, and there are 4 new, brand new best-of-5 baseball series, the divisional series. None of them are on tap today after the Mets rallied and eliminated the Milwaukee Brewers last night 4-2. 3 of the 4 road teams in the wild card portion of baseball's playoffs won their series. The only road team that did not advance was Atlanta, losing at San Diego. So there you go. So the National League, it's San Diego and Los Angeles. They'll go against each other. It is the Mets and the Phillies, both of them best of 5. One of those 4 makes it to the World Series. And in the American League, Kansas City versus New York, Detroit versus Cleveland. One of those 4 eventually will make it to the World Series. So I've set the table here. We have Michigan State Madness tonight at the Breslin Center. The doors open at the Breslin at 6. Program 7 to 9. They will be done in time for you to watch the football game, and they do have TV screens set up outside. The Izzone campouts going on tonight as well. They're condensing all of that. Michigan State hockey, somehow, some way, in the midst of all this, is opening its season tonight right here on WVFN Radio. Face-off 6:07 tonight. First of 2 at Lake Superior State. Second game tomorrow is at 4 o'clock. That's on WVFN as well. Am I correct?
That's correct. It's on the regular on-air signal. The high school game will be on the game, 730am.com.
And at 1:08 tomorrow, first pitch, Detroit at Cleveland, best of 5 series in baseball. So you've got that.
That's here on WVFN.
Oh, that's on. Then we go to hockey.
No. Tomorrow. You're talking about tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow. It's a 12:40 pregame, 1:08 first pitch from Cleveland. That's on WVFN exclusive because the hockey game, Michigan State, Lake Superior State, is tomorrow afternoon. They play at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so it's a 3:30 pregame on 1240 WJIM.
Oh, so we're moving that to WJIM. Okay.
That's correct.
All right, there you go. Then the Sunday Stout on Sports on Channel 10 now. It's underway for the 27th year, but this will be the first of all the Sunday 11 a.m. Sunday Stout on Sports shows on Channel 10. So there you go. Anything... I get a kick. I told Brock this morning, I said, we got some Facebook, some internet, all kinds of criticisms yesterday on the sponsors you pick them when I made Pewamo Westphalia 13.5-point favorite over Fowler. And then I look in the paper today and I see every pick there is for Pewamo Westphalia. I look on all the other predictions of anybody that does high schools and I say, why am I the one that's getting criticized when everybody else has got PW winning at Fowler tonight on the Channel 10 Friday Night Frenzy game of the week?
That's because you're you and you are held to a different standard than the rest of us.
Is the hatred toward me on this stuff different from the...
I wouldn't say hatred. It's just, that's just Tim being Tim.
I mean, yesterday the Facebook criticism comes in and my response...
Tim, it was 3.
My response comes in and I say, well, if Fowler wins on Friday night, I certainly expect some kind of thank you for that because they gave him bulletin board material.
Yeah,
but then I look
true.
everywhere else and every place I see PW is favored. But I don't see the criticism going there.
Yeah, because you're you, Tim. You're the one that puts point spreads on high school games.
Well, does that diminish the fact that all of you guys across the board refused to pick the home team who's undefeated tonight? I mean, I think that's a lack of respect. I mean, I would think between the 3 of you, one of you would have said, well, I think Fowler will win tonight. We'll put it in. And then somebody will say, that, well, at least so-and-so picked us. But no. But don't criticize those guys. I mean, they don't know.
It's because you're you. That's why.
I mean, I don't know anything about it, but those guys are all experts, so they'll have to
No, we're not experts, but we're not dummies either.
But they'll have to get a pass. Well, at any rate, you can find out what happened tonight because that is the Friday Night Frenzy game of the week, and the weather
that's
should
where you
be
guys
good.
are going? Okay, cool.
I mean, is there a bigger game in the area? I mean,
there's
those
3,
two have it. I mean, that's a long-running rivalry in the state of Michigan.
And it's played for the milk jug. And
is that what it is?
That's the trophy game. Yeah, there's 3 really good ones tonight. It's that one, PW at Fowler. The winner's going to win the CMAC title. Mason is at St. John's. The winner clinches a share of the CAAC red title. And then the game we're going to be at, Grand Ledge at Everett, the winner stays alive in the CAAC blue race.
All right, so I asked this of Brock today, and of course there's an obvious answer to this. Remember when when did college football on television begin airing on Friday nights? Has that been 5 years?
It's been a few years.
It's been, what, 5 years, 8
No,
years,
longer
10 years?
than
Whatever.
I would say 10 to 15 years.
And when that first was announced as coming, there was alarm by high school athletic associations across America. This will hurt high school football if you play televised college football on Friday night. My response to that was, to me, it depends on what the game is on Friday night, because I think it's a provincial, regional sport where more often than not, people will watch if they have interest in the teams from their area. I mean, to me, if you got Troy and Texas State like last night and it's Friday night, who cares? Except for those who
right.
I mean, that pretty much who cares. All right. But and the colleges have nothing to do with it for the most part.
No, the television networks dictate
when Michigan State opens on a Friday night Labor Day weekend, that's because they know most of the high schools are going to play Thursday. And they play Thursday not because State's playing Friday. They play Thursday so that they can give students, teachers, parents, all that, the entire Labor Day weekend to do whatever they want to do as a holiday before the fall starts, okay? But once we get into the season, it's all the networks because they negotiated that to pay all that money to the colleges. So here's what I asked Brock today. So Oregon's playing Michigan State in Eugene, Oregon tonight at 9, which is 6 o'clock
6
Oregon
p.m.
time.
Yep.
All right. The University of Oregon had nothing to do with this. All right. And that's an undefeated top 10 ranked team. So you would think that there would be people in Oregon or out in that area who are interested in watching that game at 6 o'clock tonight. So I said to Brock, high school football on Friday night in Oregon, with that game being played tonight, how much revenue might have been made without that game on Friday night? How much revenue across the state of Oregon will be lost from people who might have otherwise attended a high school game and paid whatever to go, but instead will stay home because the beloved Oregon Ducks are on TV at home against Michigan State? Now, again, the university had nothing to do with it other than the fact that to take all that money from the networks, that's what's called negotiations. And the networks don't want bad games. And as we go through future years, you're going to see fewer and fewer of these goofy games. I mean, this is a legitimate game. It's a Big Ten game.
It is.
A top 10 team.
It is.
But I'm wondering, and we'll never know, but I'm wondering, is there such a thing as the Oregon High School Athletic Association, and did they cringe when they saw that the Oregon-Michigan State game, as chosen by the networks, would be played at 6 p.m. Oregon time on Friday, October 4th? And how much does that hurt the gates at the high school games? You can deal with that any way you want. Now, let's give our picks first. I have no idea. I can see 51-7, and I can see 28-27.
Okay.
I could even make a case somehow. I'm not impressed necessarily with State. I don't trust Oregon. You know what I mean? They had two close games to start. Now, they looked pretty good at UCLA last week on the road. They won by 3 touchdowns, but it's UCLA. I mean, Oregon is considered a prominent team.
Yeah, right.
Well, you tell me first, and then I'll tell you whether
okay. I'll say Oregon 38, Michigan State 12. I'll say 4 field goals. 38-12 Oregon.
I'll say 30-20 Oregon.
Okay. Those are fair scores.
Well, I don't know that they are or not.
Well, it's better than saying 62-6.
I don't have any confidence in that. But the problem I have is not with Michigan State. State will play hard.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to go out. I mean, they're going to play
Whether
hard.
they play well or not, who knows?
I mean,
playing hard and playing well.
Now, the last game against
things.
Ohio State, they had 12, 15 yards in penalties after getting for 130 in the first few games. Then they go down. The problem was with no penalties last week against Ohio State, they had no offense either. They had 13 first downs. They had 1 touchdown drive of 12 yards. Is that going to continue against Oregon?
We'll see.
I can't believe Oregon's defense is as good as Ohio State's. I can't believe it. But the trade-off for that is that Oregon's playing at home. And
in that loud stadium.
Well, that's going to be a given. I mean, the given is it's a difficult place to play, and better Michigan State teams have struggled out there. But you know what? This is a goofy sport, and it's a goofy year. There's so much. That transfer portal's got me bamboozled because these teams, to me, are more I told Brock, I said, I looked at Michigan's schedule today. I mean, I think Washington will beat Michigan to begin with.
Okay.
Then they get a bye week. Then they go to Illinois.
Yeah, that's not easy.
They get.
That's not easy.
So one of the guys on the Ann Arbor radio station John Bacon, who's, he's kind of their historian in a way, he was telling the guy on Ann Arbor Radio driving in today, the one thing he can guarantee for Michigan football is that next year, Michigan football will have a quarterback. He said the wheels are turning as we speak.
Probably. He's probably right.
They will go through the universe between now and the start of next season, and they are going to find a quarterback. And what I think he thinks is they are going to spend however they got to get it, whatever they got to. They are going to find a quarterback.
Whether it's Jaden Davis, who's going to redshirt this year, he was a highly touted quarterback, but they want him to redshirt this year.
And then I suggested to Brock, what if Cade McNamara would have stayed at Michigan? Because I think if Cade McNamara, that we know today at Iowa, was the Michigan quarterback, I think they'd be a whole different team.
Well, they'd be better than what they are, yeah. Because at least he can throw the ball.
Well, because he's given Iowa a little offensive spark.
But I understand why he transferred, because A, he graduated, and B, he lost his job to J.J. McCarthy. So I understand why he left.
Well, he couldn't beat out McCarthy, but he could have beat out anybody else they got now.
Sure, right, but he wasn't going to hang around. But
this guy said on Ann Arbor, he says, I'm just telling you one thing. Next year, Michigan is going to have a quarter. They can masquerade this stuff all they want. And by the way, it's going to get more, there's going to be more, focus on the issues they have if they lose to Washington. And Illinois is going to give them all they want. I'd pick Illinois.
Playing at Illinois?
I pick up today. I would.
Oh, okay.
Now, depending on what happens between now and then,
injuries.
We're a couple of weeks out for Michigan,
so Michigan has a bye week after this.
They have a bye week after this, and they got to go to Indiana, and they got to go to Ohio State, and to be honest with you, they got to play Michigan State.
Yeah, that's no lock.
I'm telling you what,
Michigan can't
I don't
throw
know
the
what
ball.
they're doing in practice, but I'd be working on it.
Well, I'm sure they are.
The reason they might win at Washington is I don't like Washington because they're not what they were last year.
And is Will Johnson going to play? Because you saw what happened when he was not on the field against Minnesota. Minnesota came back and threw the ball all over the field.
You can replace him, but they got to get some offense.
Tim, here we go. Quarterback's the only position you care about. Nobody else matters.
For them it is, because they don't have one. They have no offense.
They do. It's Khalil Mullings. That's their offense.
By the way, Brock and I want to wish Khalil Mullings happy. I don't know how old he is. Today's his birthday.
Because their offense is Khalil Mullings. Without Khalil Mullings, they'd have, let's see, they'd have lost Minnesota. They would have lost the USC game. They did lose the Texas game. They would have lost the Arkansas State game because he had almost 200 yards rushing.
But to me, you're asking a lot out of this guy when the defense is moving 13 guys up on the line of scrimmage because they know they can't throw the ball. So they know he's going to get it.
Right.
I mean,
I'm surprised he's taken over for Donovan Edwards because Donovan Edwards was supposed to be the number one running back, and it hasn't turned out that way.
Well, today is his birthday. I don't know how old he is, but if you want to give him a birthday present, Wolverines, throw the ball successfully so it can take some heat off him in Washington tomorrow. All right, caller, stay right there. We're going to get a quick break. Then we start with you. We'll begin at Holton Okemos. When we come back, get your picks. Michigan State, Oregon. You have to have the correct team winning to have a chance to win. And then from there, it's whoever is the closest. You can root for whoever you want during the game, but on the You Pick'em show, root for yourself. So that I still think we're going to get, but I think this is a wide open. This one to me is hard to judge. I mean, Ohio State to me was, we had everybody saying 35-10, 12, 13, whatever. Well, everybody was close.
Yeah. Yep.
And will anyone pick Michigan State, even though the Spartans are a 24-point underdog tonight?
Yes.
We begin on a You Pick 'em Friday in just a moment. Stay with us. You love Italian food. The Superstar Restaurant in mid-Michigan, clearly Spagnolo's on Grand River Avenue, 3 miles east of the Meridian Mall. Award-winning pizza and Italian specialties from Mama Silvana and Amy, like you'll find nowhere else, believe me. Mama Silvana has provided her special recipes for more than 3 decades. Dine in or carry out. Call 349-9605. Closed Sundays, but what a special place. Spagnolo's Italian Restaurant in Okemos. If you've been there, you know exactly whereof I speak. Did you know that Michigan residents are missing out on a staggering $105 million every year? Yes, we are talking about Michiganders not returning their deposit containers, and we can do so much better in this state. So take them back. It's your beaches, your roads, and your dime. It's worth your time. Let's keep Michigan green and our wallets a little fuller. Don't let that $100 million end up in the landfills. The message from Schupan & Sons, a great company in Michigan dedicated to total recycling.
At Doggy Daycare and Spa, we love dogs and we know how important regular grooming is to the health and well-being of your four-legged family member. All of our spa specialists at Doggy Daycare and Spa are professionally trained, will only use patient practices, and promise to provide your dog with the most positive grooming experience possible. Give us a call at 333-WOOF, that's 333-9663, to schedule a visit to the spa and let us love your dog. Doggy Daycare and Spa, where the hip hounds hang out.
At Shaheen Cadillac of Lansing, you drive the future with luxury at your fingertips. Experience our lineup of eye-catching sedans and SUVs. Cadillac is the next generation of high-end technology where remarkable comfort and attention to detail change the way you drive. Meet with one of our product specialists today or begin your experience online at ShaheenCadillac.com.
Get this 2024 Cadillac XT6 for just $592 a month.
Relax and enjoy the Shaheen difference.
This is the Lansing Sports Network Minute from the Lansing Sports Network News Desk.
I'm Steve Goff. Spartan football coach Jonathan Smith has lots of experience battling Oregon and has great respect for head coach Dan Lanning.
I think Dan's a really good coach. Got a bunch of respect for him. We're not talking every day, but enjoy our conversations when we gather at meetings and whatnot. He's done a great job there, and he'll present another challenge with his team. Those guys play hard, schematically sound, and that's just the MO of his program.
The Spartans kick off tonight at 9 against the 6th-ranked Ducks. Join myself, Tim Stout, and Jimmy O'Brien as we break down the game and all you need to know with the Lansing Sports Network Spartan Tailgate Show beginning at 5:30 this afternoon. In the meantime, from the studios of the Lansing Sports Network, I'm Steve Goff. Go Green!
Find more and stay up to date at LansingSportsNetwork.com or in the Lansing Sports Network app.
Most tax pros leave a message.
It's Jane. I'm moving on to a TurboTax expert who beat your price. Adam Devine, tell him how I feel.
Hey, tax pro, she's been thinking twice. Best believe TurboTax will beat your price. This is a tax break.
Switch to a TurboTax Live expert and we'll beat what you paid your pro last tax season. Make the switch at TurboTax.com/beatyourprice. TurboTax full service only. Sign up by 12/20/2024 and file by 4/1/2025. Full details at TurboTax.com/beatyourprice.
Tailgating season or any other special occasion, Tom's Food Centers in Okemos and Portland are ready to make it great for you. The entire family has created Tom's Food Centers, and they upgrade the stores with new renovations on a consistent basis. And it's also so convenient to get in and out right away 7 days a week. A lot of things on sale. The stores are fully stocked. They're neat, clean, sanitary. And for all those special occasions, you can dart in and out anytime, 7 days a week. Try them. Tom's Food Centers in Okemos and Portland. Golf season never ends at Indian Hills in Okemos off Hamilton Road. A little 9-hole course, which is great for league play or for beginners. But in the off season, that's where they make clubs, repair clubs, change clubs, adjust clubs. J.C. Peterson says anytime, call us 349-1010. And anytime when you're looking for special gifts, they always have special closeouts in their pro shop. 9 holes, Indian Hills in Okemos, 349-1010. If you want a club adjusted, call J.C. Peterson. Of all the recommendations that I've ever given you on this program through the years, no one goes higher than the Munn team for real estate advice. John and Jan Munn work as hard as anyone in the business, trust me, and they truly are realtors who get results. John's cell phone, 881-6623. Jan's at 282-6781. And when they put the 1-2 whammy on a sale or to get you the best deal possible, you have the best people working for you. The Munn team, realtors who truly get results for anything real estate. We've partnered for years with our official pizza, Cottage and Gourmet Pizza. You always get fast delivery and a variety of specials every day. Order online at cottagein.com. Convenient locations all over our area, especially East Lansing and Okemos. Cottage and Pizza, offering a wide variety of gourmet pizzas, and you can build your own just the way you want. Handmade dough closes at 11:30 each night. Way to go, George Hoover, with the continued growth and success of our official pizza, Cottage and Gourmet Pizza. Lake Lansing Road Mobile is across from the Eastwood Town Center and a touch-free car wash. Get you 25 cents a gallon off the price of gas. The service bays operate Monday through Friday and get vehicles fixed in and out right away at 484-2300. And remember, it's a broken record, but across the street, Eastwood Town Center, Culver's by Walmart. You order from that one Culver's, they reduce your price 10% when you mention Stout on Sports.
From Comerica Park to Jackson Field, we've got the sports opinions that matter to you. From the Driven Collision Studios, we make friends by accident on the game, 7:30 a.m.
All right, callers, our lines are just about filled. But before I get, I'm going to give you a couple more quick predictions here.
Oh, boy.
If there's going to be an upset tomorrow of landmark proportions in college football, keep your eye on Iowa at Ohio State.
Okay.
Now, if Ohio State wins 40-10, just erase the tape. Pull a Nixon and erase it.
For those of you who aren't old enough to understand, just go to your history book.
Just keep your eye tomorrow on Iowa. I'm not saying Ohio State's going to lose. I'm saying if there's going to be an upset in America tomorrow of epic proportions, keep your eye on Iowa at Ohio State.
Okay.
And here are the 4 divisional winners in baseball. You can all thank me later. The Padres and Phillies will win in the National League, and the Phillies will end up in the World Series.
Okay.
The Tigers will beat Cleveland. The Yankees will beat Kansas City. The Yankees will beat the Tigers. The Yankees will play the Phillies in the World Series, and the Phillies will win.
Okay.
Anything else you want to know?
All right.
Do you disagree with any of those picks?
I agree with the 3 of the 4 division series winners, Yankees, Tigers, and Phillies. But I'm taking the Dodgers over the Padres. But I think that could be a whale of a series. And the Padres aren't a bad pick because I think that's going the distance, 5. It'll go 5.
To me, the 2 best TV numbers for the series would begin with the Yankees-Dodgers, but I think the
Yankees-Dodgers would draw.
But I think the Yankees-Mets, even though it's an all-New York final, there would be some interest because you're going to see the natural hate rivalry in there between them.
Outside of Metro New York, probably not.
I disagree with that.
Right.
No, look, the World Series is never going to make a dent. But the best shot it has, in my opinion, is the Yankees-Dodgers for the obvious reasons.
Okay.
Let's start. We got our picks in. Brock says 38-12 Oregon. I said 30-20 Oregon. Johnson, hold these up on the You Pick 'em Sparrow Friday Stone on Sports. Morning, John.
Hey, Tim, I hope I get this one right for a change. I'm going to say Oregon 38, Michigan State 17.
All right. What's up with you today?
Oh, not much, man. I'm just looking forward to the state game tonight and watching the Tigers tomorrow.
There you go. You got a busy sports weekend. There are no Lions this weekend. The Lions are idle this weekend, Brock.
They are.
You can watch the game, pick whoever you want, bet on every one.
They've announced the TV crews for TBS on for the American League Division Series. The Tigers and Guardians get who do they get? Oh yeah, Brian Anderson, who's really good.
He's very good,
and Jeff Francoeur, who's good as well.
Steve's in Okemos on the Sparrow Stout on Sports. Morning, Steve.
Good morning. I'm going to take Michigan State to pull the upset, 41-38.
All right. What's up with you today?
Well, I'm pretty excited about the Tigers, but I grew up near North Royalton, actually, in Ohio. So I grew up a Guardians fan, so I figure whoever wins that series, I'm going to be pretty happy. But I think Detroit will win, especially if it goes 7 games.
Well, it can't go 7 because it's a best of 5.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, but I think the ace, Detroit ace is going to take them to the victory.
My middle son lives in North Royalton. You know that, don't you?
Yeah, I've heard you talk about North Royalton. I lived right up the street in Parma,
So there you go. At any rate, all right. You have a great time. I bet enjoy the games and enjoy the weekend and all that good stuff. And we'll see. But he has an upset, so we'll see how that completely goes, one way or the other. Dave Birkett is on the other end of our line. He's got a book that he has written in Detroit. Of course, he has absolutely covered his beat as well as you can probably cover it from a newspaper standpoint in Detroit. His book has just been published, and he'll tell us all about it. He is on the other end of our line this morning. Morning, Dave.
Hey, Tim, how are you?
Good, thank you. Do you get a weekend off in any way when they're idle? Are you idle, or how does that work?
Yeah, I don't know about a full week or weekend, and especially with young kids, you know how that is. And you mentioned the book. I actually have a little book signing this weekend at Choice Farm Market out in Weberville. So still working, although will not be writing. No games for me to cover.
Yeah, no games because the Lions are idle this weekend. Dave Birkett, how long have you covered the Detroit Lions? How long have you had that beat? And did you want that beat in the first place?
Yeah, man, that's a tough question. Did I want it? Because, when I was, coming up, I went to Michigan State many, many years ago, and I was covering colleges, and I thought colleges were the best thing ever to cover, covering Michigan State, and I did a little bit of Michigan after I left there as well. And, I covered high school for a period, and I thought, man, this is great. Like, I could be the next Mick McCabe, but when I started covering the Lions, 2008 was my first full season on the beat, and I was at the Oakland Press then. That was the 0-16 season, and they were awful, but there was something about covering pro sports that were, really, I thought, especially the NFL was right where I wanted to be. And so, yeah, I've been at the Free Press since 2010, and I used to joke, Tim, I've seen a lot of bad football. I covered John L. Smith at Michigan State and Rich Rod at Michigan, and I mentioned that 0-16 season, and now all of a sudden, these Lions are a pretty good team.
So, Dave, I know there's really no off season anymore per se in the NFL. Do you have other duties from the Free Press though when the schedule's done or or whenever it is that you would consider? Do they have you writing anything else, or are the Lions such and the NFL as such that requires 100% of your attention during the year?
Oh yeah, that's exactly what it is. I mean, you think about the off season, and it's really what off season. I mean, even if the Lions aren't playing in the Super Bowl, I'm out at the Super Bowl most years. After that, you've got the combine and free agency, and there's owners meetings in the draft, and OTAs and mini camps, and so there's not. The NFL takes sort of the end of June, beginning of July off, and that's usually when I sort of disappear for a few weeks as well. And this year I came back and I covered the Olympics for 3 weeks instead of going right to training camp. So. That was the Olympics. So it's probably the first NFL or football sort of event I've covered since the lockout in 2011. I did a baseball series back then with the Tigers and a little bit of spring training, but that's about it. Yeah.
So Dave Birkett is with us. He has written a book, a Detroit Lions themed book, after 17 years or so covering the Lions. What motivated you to write it? And for people who read it, what will they read perhaps that they don't know now?
Yeah, well, this was the publishing house that actually asked me. They approached me, maybe 5 years ago to do this book. It's Detroit Lions, an illustrated timeline. And, they have sort of a series that's where they've covered different organizations and franchises across all sports, Kansas City Chiefs, the, St. Louis Blues. There's a number of books that they've done like this. And just a couple years ago, it wasn't, I wasn't in the right place. I had too much kid stuff going on and didn't want to, take my vacation time to do it. This year was a little bit different. They asked me in February, and they needed it by April, and so it wasn't going to cut into my vacation. And certainly the team's a little bit better right now, and so I figured it was now or never, and finished it up in the spring, and it's just coming out now. This is the first week it's been out.
I'll get to, again, exactly where and when in our area you're going to be. When you look at the Lions after the games they've played so far, what would you suggest in your own mind you're most concerned about for them moving forward, where if it doesn't improve or stabilize, it could be an issue by the end of the season? It's a long question. It's awkward, but I hope you get my drift.
No, yeah, I do. And honestly, they are a team without many holes. I thought wide receiver 2 and maybe the depth at that position was going to be an issue coming into the year. They were confident, and Jamison Williams has sort of proven them why these first few weeks. He's been a really important deep threat to that offense. He's been invaluable in a lot of ways. So that doesn't seem like as big a concern right now. There still are some depth issues. If something happens to Aiden Hutchinson, I don't know where they get much pass rush from, and so injuries, I guess, are the thing that you really want to keep an eye out on, and especially since they've lost Derek Barnes and Marcus Davenport on the defensive side of the ball, something like that could snowball. But Tim, right now, they legitimately have one of the 3 or 4 most talented rosters in the NFL. They should be in this for the long haul in the NFC, competing for the NFC North. The Vikings look really, really good right now. But I think I trust Jared Goff and the Lions offense over, Sam Darnold and the Vikings offense.
Before I get to the book signing, what amazed me the other night against Seattle, I never thought at one time Seattle was going to win the game. I like Seattle. I think Seattle's good, blah, 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 all that. So the next morning, I told Brock here, I said, look this up because there's got to be a misprint because they didn't realize it. I can't believe, looking back, at 7 in the morning, I'm going through the box score. I can't believe Seattle lost by 2 touchdowns and had 38 first downs in that game. And so I said, look it up. I said, that's got to be. And I did. And he did. And it's an NFL record for a losing team to get 38 first downs, right, in the history of the NFL.
Yeah. Other teams have gotten more first downs, but they won the game.
Now, is that an anomaly, or do the Lions have issues defensively moving forward, even though they won the game convincingly, for the most part, against Seattle?
Yeah, no, they did, and that was almost an NFL record. I believe the record's 41 or something like that, so they were right on the verge of setting an NFL record for first downs. No, look, if you want to, nitpick, Jared Goff has to play better than he did the first couple weeks. The Lions, maybe that's something that could hold them back. Defensively, I thought the defense played really well the first 3 games of the season. Not quite as much last week, and some of that was just the way they were able to throw the ball, but I do think the Lions have a top 10 caliber defense, and it was proven out the first few weeks. They stopped the run. Teams have not been able to run on them, running backs especially. That game did get a little loose with some of the the passing yards, but I think what happened, to your point about it being an anomaly, was Jamison Williams one 70-yard touchdown pass. The Lions get a fumble return where they have like a 3-play drive. So the game script was really slammed in the Seahawks, offensive favor, and the Lions need to do a better job getting off the field on third downs. But I think some of what happened the other day was just kind of the way things played out.
The other thing, too, is, Dave, and I tell Brock this all the time. I said, since Goff has been with the Lions, they have done, in my opinion, a remarkable job of keeping him healthy. When I look at all these NFL quarterbacks, Jordan Love at Green Bay, amongst others already, that go down. And when the Lions lost Stafford, they had nothing behind him, never won a game or whatever. And I keep saying, okay, he hasn't missed a down to injury that my memory tells me. So I watch him play, and he does get hit from time to time. Is it your sense that they understand that we have got to keep him healthy, we have got to protect him, or on the other hand, you just play and take your risk and hope he stays healthy? Is there anything to that thought?
No, you're right. They do, and not just keep him healthy, but that offensive line and keeping pressure out of his face is so important to his success, and more than other quarterbacks in the NFL. You could say that for anyone, but obviously Jared Goff is not as mobile as Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen or some of these quarterbacks who can, create out of the pocket. And I think that's a lot of what happened and why Jared didn't play his best in the first 3 games was he got a little pressure in his face. Maybe he panicked a little bit and threw off his back foot. And, maybe more so the first 2 games than the last 2. He was pretty good against Arizona too. But so they absolutely need to keep him healthy because of, the lack of experience they have behind him, and they just need to keep him upright because that's what this offense needs to function. That's what he needs to be a really good quarterback.
All right, Dave Birkett has written a book about the Detroit Lions, 16, 17 years of coverage, most of it for the Detroit Free Press. Where will you be to sign in the area? And furthermore, if people aren't there for the Lions book signing, how can they get a copy of the book?
Yeah, so again, it's Detroit Lions, an illustrated timeline, and it's a big coffee table book, Tim. It's, got amazing pictures in it, Getty images, and, what I did was I sort of went through the franchise, all the top moments and teams and players in history, and there's, these little vignettes about them. And I think if any Lions fan out there, if you think of a moment, like there's a picture to match Kelvin Johnson in the catch, Jim Schwartz and Jim Harbaugh, shaking hands or fighting after their handshake, Joe Schmidt getting carried off the field in the 50s. So it's a great sort of run through history. I've got 2 appearances this weekend. The first one's not really close to you, but Laurel Park Place, there's a sports card show at Pro Sports Zone. If anyone's down in this area, I'll be there 10 to 12 on Saturday. And then Sunday, I will be in Weberville, Choice Farm Market, the home of the Dan Campbell Corn Maze. So bring your kids out, go run around the corn maze, come get a book or just talk Lions. And if you can't make it out, certainly you can email me. There's a little website that it's up at, or through the publisher is readypress.com.
And what time are you in Weberville Sunday?
I'll be there 11 to 1 at Choice Farm Market. So should be good. Hopefully we can talk some Lions. Like I said, even if you don't want a book, come on out. Love to see Lions fans.
And Christmas is around the corner. There are a lot of Lions fans around the state of Michigan. You're thinking a Christmas gift. It's a beautiful book, believe me, and it's well done by one who writes it the best, Dave Birkett of the Detroit Free Press. Hey, Dave, I really appreciate very much checking in with us. You got our number now. When you have anything to pass on, pick up the phone and let us know, because we're happy to help in any way we can.
You got it, Tim. We'll talk to you again.
There you go, Dave Birkett. I thought he was checking in today. Of course, I forgot, and I didn't know when, so I was all set to just go zooming through one You Pick 'em call after another.
But then he called right when Steve Winokumis was on. So
all right, so I'm overdue for a quick break. Everything moving forward that I know of for a while is picks. So when we come back, let's see. I'm going to East Lansing, Columbus, Ohio, DeWitt, East Lansing, and Lansing. And elsewhere on a You Pick 'em Friday, Sparrow Stout on Sports.
Here's what's on tap today here on the game, 7:30 a.m. WVFN. Coming up after we're done at 1 o'clock, we got another guest possibility later on in the show. Lynn Henning from the Detroit News is going to join us a little bit later on. But it's a You Pick 'em day for the Michigan State-Oregon game. At 1 o'clock, ESPN Radio. Then at 3, full 3 hours of the huge show. Well, no, because at 5:30, it's the regular season opener for Michigan State hockey here on WVFN. Scott Moore, Rob Woodward, Michigan State hockey at Lake Superior State. Now, on the internet, thegame730am.com. It'll be Grand Ledge at Everett. Eric Doc Love and I will be at Archie Ross Stadium for that. Over on 1240 WJIM and Classic Rock 94.9 MMQ, 5:30 to 7:30. It's the MSU football tailgate show, and then at 7:30, network coverage of Michigan State at Oregon. That's what's on tap. The game, 7:30 a.m. WVFN.
When you're ready for checking that earns interest and gives you perks, Merc Perks Plus from Mercantile Bank is here. With a competitive interest rate and perks like travel services, cashback rewards, and identity protection, Merc Perks Plus has everything you need for your busy lifestyle. Merc Perks Plus also offers discounts on consumer loans and access to almost 40,000 fee-free MoneyPass ATMs. So when you're ready for perks, Merc is here. Learn more at mercbank.com/mercperksplus. Member FDIC.
It's amazing to me the fabulous quality of Wash World in cleaning your vehicle. 2 locations in our area, Okemos and Jolly Road, and on the west side, I-96 at the MLK exit. State-of-the-art, full service, free vacuum. Who offers that? $2 off on Wednesday, gift cards available, and you can get monthly and yearly wash subscriptions. You're in and out right away. Your vehicle looks great any time of the year. Make your car or truck look great at Wash World. The best in quality, the fastest service, believe me, in Okemos and Westside Lansing. Michigan Plumbing, a leading provider of plumbing, drain cleaning, and water heater services to homeowners in the mid-Michigan area. And you can get an expert in your home free for an evaluation. Call 322-2994. 24/7 emergency plumbing and drain services for the entire mid-Michigan area. All home plumbing emergencies, all makes and models of equipment. What a great company it is, Michigan Plumbing. And they're right when they say we exceed your expectations. See for yourself, Michigan Plumbing today. You always have a great time at Scott Berman's One North Kitchen and Bar, 5001 West Saginaw, Lansing. It's in the old Reno's West location. Dine-in or curbside service, all the info at onenorthdining.com. Or call 901-5001 for any special event. Open 11 to 11 and then till midnight on Friday and Saturday. A casual and entertainment-based environment where your gathering will have a great time every time. That's One North on West Saginaw in West Lansing.
Every progressive slot, every parlay and prop, Bovada.lv gets you ready for every way you want to play. Spin to win hourly, hot drop jackpots, or build your winning lineup with Parlay Booster. Join today and see for yourself why players have chosen us as their online casino for over 10 years. Your best bet every day you want to play. Bovada.lv. Ready for everything.
You're looking for a little quaint bistro for a getaway at any time after work? Well, the hot one in the area, as usual, in East Lansing, Sidebar. right next to Abood Law, okay, Abbott and Saginaw. It's wonderful for lunch or dinner or any special occasion where you don't want a jam-packed crowd, but there are televisions there to watch all the big games and a nice, quiet getaway. Try Sidebar, Google Sidebar. Take a look at what all they have for you. A wonderful menu, quaint, cozy atmosphere. Sidebar in East Lansing. Does your business struggle with poor cell service inside the building? Poor cell signal in the place of work can create communication problems with internal staff and outside clients. The Antenna Men are cell signal pros. They've provided solutions to clients all over Michigan, and they'll provide solutions to help your staff be more productive in a great way. Cell Signal Pros also has solutions for homeowners as well. Go to the Antenna Men and Cell Signal Pros. Google the company. It's great in many different ways. Custom built design and renovation in Meridian Township in Michigan is ready to renovate your home, build you a deck, redo your bathroom, your kitchen, and you see those custom built signs all over the mid-Michigan area. Call for a consultation at 881-9871. They have so many tremendous opportunities for you. If you're looking for a pro home remodeling contractor in our area, look no further than Custom Built. Contact them today for free estimates. What a great company for renovation. Golf this weekend. Royal Scott Golf and Bowl is there for you. You can watch your games, have lunch, have dinner, play golf, go bowling. I mean, you got a lot of options at Royal Scott Golf and Bowl just west of the airport. The Emerald north of St. John's. Go have fun there anytime. For special occasions, you call Jay and Katie Eccleton and let them set it up. Brookshire Inn in Williamston. Okay, for Christmas parties, they're taking the dates now. 655-4694 Brookshire Inn, and go play fall golf there at the reduced rates as well. There you go. You've got some options from the Sparrow Stout on Sports.
Why would you argue with people online about sports when you can argue live over the airwaves?
Cut the BS and let's get to the truth.
Sports and Sports Talk is on the Game, 7:30 a.m.
On we go from the Driven Collision Studios, a You Pick 'em day. Okay, let's see what everybody's thinking. 342-63, Fred's in East Lansing. He's up next on the Sparrow Stout on Sports. Morning, Fred.
Morning, Tim. I'll get my pick out here first. I'll take Oregon 42-6.
All right.
Even though I want Michigan State to win, obviously, but the combat. Well, how about Kirk Cousins last night?
Oh, my golly.
500.
He had what?
509 yards.
509 yards.
And I listened to the end of the game last night here on WVFN of regulation. I mean, and I can't believe how they were able. I couldn't believe how they could go from 12 seconds, run a play, and still get up to the line of scrimmage and kill the clock. But they showed a replay of it, and they got it. They got it correct. They got it spiked with 1 second to go and kicked the field goal and forced overtime.
It was a wild game.
Wild game, yeah.
I mean, for $182 million that they're paying him over the length of that contract, that's what they were hoping to get. Now, like everything else, is at a one-game. And I think Tampa's pretty good. Tampa beat the Lions at Ford Field, so Tampa can't be that bad, right? So there you go.
I got one question for you. How good is Washington's defense?
Well, let's see, Brock, from who Washington
You're talking the Huskies, right, playing Michigan?
Well, the only time I've seen them play, they had a Friday night game at Rutgers a couple of weeks ago, and Rutgers held on to win 21-18. I mean, off that alone, do they have some good players? Yeah, but I think, they've lost. The whole key last year was that Michael Penix, and he's gone, and the head coach is gone as well. So are they still somebody got to play? Sure, but are they what they were a year ago, making it to the national title game? You can make an argument they're not, but you can make an argument Michigan's not either.
They got two losses, Washington, because they lost to Washington State in the Apple Cup game, and then they lost, like you said, to Rutgers.
I guess you'll find out tomorrow, Fred, and that game is 7:30 tomorrow night on Channel 10. Thank you, Fred. We got your pick. Enjoy your weekend. Frank's in Lansing. He's next on the Sparrow Stout on Sports. Morning, Frank. Are you there, Frank? Calling.
Oh, sorry about that. Sorry.
No
hey,
problem.
Guys.
What's up with you today?
Yeah, I got my pick, and then I got a quick question. The pick is Oregon, 49-13.
Okay.
And then my question is, who would you lock down on the Tigers, excluding Skubal? Like, what guys would you lock down the first? Like Meadows, I said Meadows, Green, and Sweeney.
I mean, if I understand the question, I wouldn't do one single thing differently than what they're doing. I mean, I think they're fragile with young players, but to me, since July 5th, what I told Brock is where I think they have a chance in anything, there are a couple ways. There's no dominant team in baseball. No team won 60% of its games. In my opinion, no team has more than 2 legitimate worry about hitters in their lineup. I get people argue with me, but I say that's my opinion. And you got to worry about 2 guys. Cleveland, you have to worry about 1 guy. Ramirez he's tough, but you know what? If you have to walk the guy, says then he can't be it. On the Tigers side, they obviously get contributions in a way from a lot of players, and not just offensively, because where I think Meadows is good is defensively.
They are a much better defensive team than I thought they'd be.
And to me, they don't have to score a lot of runs to win because their pitching is, in my opinion, is good enough to hold them in all these games. They don't get many blowout games winning or losing. So the games are all close. But if they can manufacture 3 to 4 runs a game, they've got a great chance to win because the other teams like Houston don't have the offense. And I am convinced Cleveland is no different than Houston. Cleveland has, like Brock says, Cleveland's save guy.
Emmanuel Clase, who's outstanding.
He's good, but you know what? You got to have the lead to use him or tie.
Oh, yeah.
So
yes.
I mean, if Cleveland's
stay
behind,
away from him.
If Cleveland's behind, he's not a factor.
If you stay away from Clase, you have a chance to win the series. But if he's pitching 3 or 4 of the games, good luck.
But Cleveland only beat the Tigers. It was a 7-6. Cleveland had that advantage in the 13 games. So to me, this is a reasonably toss-up series. And just because Cleveland has home field advantage, 3 teams in the first round that were the road teams never got a home game, still won and advanced.
Right. So that, home field doesn't matter as much in baseball as it does in football, football or basketball.
I mean, I'm with John Smoltz. The dearth of offense that has been created in Major League Baseball for a number of different reasons, to me, has tremendously benefited the Detroit Tigers because they do not need, in my opinion, murderers row on offense.
Well, they're hitting .235 as a team.
And look where they are.
Yeah, still playing.
I think they'll beat Cleveland because I just don't think Cleveland's good enough. And I think the Tigers are a little bit on a roll. And I think their young players are somewhat fearless. And they should be fearless.
They got a ton of confidence.
Who do they worry about?
They have a ton of confidence. They got Uncle Mo, momentum on their side right now.
Here are the news headlines. All of you stay on the line. We'll go to Columbus, Ohio for his pick next, and he's won before, so we'll see how that goes. Why would he have any allegiance to Michigan State or Oregon? We'll see. So far, right away in the first hour, 75% have picked Oregon to beat Michigan State. Probably it's going to be near that way. It was 80% Ohio State over Michigan State on the You Pick 'em for whatever that's worth. This is a You Pick 'em Michigan State football Friday Sparrow Stout on Sports.
It's not just sports, it's a lifestyle.
Right on.
We are The Game, 7:30 a.m. WVFN, East Lansing.
Childhood sweethearts, Saturday mornings, the strength to carry on. The things you live for are what El Camino Health is here for. We set the community standards for compassionate care, and we are nationally recognized for excellence. For us, every recognition, every show of strength is another success story, another life well lived. Our strength is your health. You have a choice. El Camino Health is your best choice.
It's always game time.
Game on! Game on!
We're The Game, 7:30 a.m. Welcome to the second hour of the Sparrow Stout on Sports, starring Tim Stout on The Game, 7:30 a.m. You can call the Dean on the Culligan Water Hotline at 517-300-4263 or drop him an email at tim.stout@wilx.com. Now, celebrating over 30 years on the radio in Lansing, here's the Dean of Mid-Michigan Sports, Tim Stout.
Hour number 2 is brought to you by the 2 wash roll locations in our area. Matt Mattis says, hey, Okemos and Jolly Road, we'll get you in and out. I-96 at the MLK exit will get you in and out. $2 off on Wednesdays. Gift cards available. Always free vacuum service. The best wash in the area. And you'll get through it. Even if there's a line, you're not going to wait in that line long, and that line goes quickly at the Wash World locations. Hadley is in Columbus, Ohio. He's won the U Pick'em so far this season.
He did it, 2-3 weeks ago?
And he's on the other end of our line. Good morning.
Hey, guys. Tim, I'm going to try to get back on this winning streak. I'm going to cover the spread. It's 24, right?
Spread's 24 there, or, half point either way.
Okay, 37-13, Oregon.
All right. Since you're in Columbus, Ohio, keep your eyes out tomorrow at 3:30. I think Iowa's going to give Ohio State all they want. Just a hunch. If Ohio State blows them out, forget I ever said that.
So you think McNamara is going to have a day, huh?
No, not necessarily. I think there are different ways that Iowa can be effective in that game. Ohio State's coming off there. I don't know. I think Ohio State up against the right team could be a little bit vulnerable. I would be surprised if that's a one-sided game. I'd pick Ohio State, but I think Iowa's, if they're ever going to beat these guys in Columbus, to me it's got to be tomorrow because Iowa finally has a quarterback, I think, who can move the ball a bit. But we'll see.
I'm curious what the spread is on that game.
Brock, I had that in front of me there.
What, Iowa and
Ohio State. It's something like, is it 13, 12, something like that? We'll find that for you, Hadley.
That's close.
So there you go.
All right, one last thing, Tim. You've been jing about Washington and Michigan game. I'm going to tell you this. This is a crucial game for Michigan as far as the record goes. We win this game, we can get closer to possibly making the playoffs and possibly getting into the Big Ten championship. We lose this game, we're going to look at a bowl game. That's all I got to say.
No, I totally agree with you. Because they got to go to Illinois, they got to go to Indiana, they got to go to Ohio State, they get Michigan State, and in a rivalry game, that game to me in Ann Arbor is going to be a grinder.
Given the relative lack of a passing game. Ohio State, by the way, is an 18.5-point favorite.
Oh, I'm surprised a little bit.
I would take Iowa
You're
to cover.
talking about no respect for the Hawkeyes.
Yeah, because they know their offense historically has been terrible.
Yeah, but that's historically. This year,
they're a little better this year.
And the one game they lost by a point was to Iowa State. Look where Iowa State's ranked. Look where they're ranked.
Yeah, they're undefeated, aren't they?
They're undefeated, and they're in the polls. Dave's in DeWitt. He's next on the Sparrow Stout on Sports. Morning, Dave.
Morning, guys. I think 45-10 Oregon for my pick, and I hope that the homecoming crowd here at DeWitt, I will tell you now, the parade comes down behind my house, and there'll be 200 cheerleaders, future cheerleaders. There'll be 250 future soccer players, and there'll be almost 300 Junior Panther football players at the head of that thing. So there's a reason why these guys always seem to be doing so well, and everybody has fun. And then there's the 8th grade band, and then the varsity band, and those are pretty big organizations here in town, too. So a lot to be proud of in DeWitt tonight, and good luck to Holt when they come and try to play us.
All right, there you go. Big doings, and there's a lot going on all over the area.
Homecoming at DeWitt, that's a huge deal over there.
Yeah, they've got Holt in town tonight, and DeWitt, let's just say, will be a solid favorite. Mike's in Lansing next on the Sparrow Stout on Sports. Morning, Mike.
Morning, sir.
Do you have a pick?
Hello?
Yes, do you have a pick?
Yes, I do. I'm going to go like in the Price is Right fashion. I'm going to go 44-10.
All right.
After the last call.
What else on your mind today?
That's all, man. I'm going to let you guys talk.
All right, there you go. Thanks, Mike. Have a good weekend. JC's in Lansing. He's up next on the Sparrow Stout on Sports. Morning, JC.
Hey, I won last week. I'm going to try her again.
Yeah, this is our defending champion who won the. And by the way, Brock, he was only up by what, 2 or 3 points, something like that.
3 points, JC.
Yeah, he had 38-10 Ohio State, and it was 38-7. That said, what do you say tonight?
Well, I kind of got 45-6 Oregon, of course. I was going to pick 45-9, but somebody picked 10, so I'm going to go 6.
All right,
45-6.
What else on your mind today?
Oh, just closing the cottage up north up by Canadian Lakes, draining the pipes, getting the boat out in the dock, and raking some leaves or blowing some leaves. Other than that, it's going to be a fun weekend.
There you go. Good, JC. Enjoy the expected good weather this weekend.
A lot of people heading up to their cottages this week while the weather's good to take care of all of that. Yeah.
Carnax and Holt. He's next on the Sparrow Stout on Sports. Good morning.
Good morning, Tim and Brock. I'm going to do 42 Oregon, 14 for State.
All right. What's up with you today?
I think my Ferris State Bulldogs are kicking off the CCHA at home tonight, and I think I read, I don't know if this is when they joined the CCHA, but some reference to the 50th year. So my Bulldogs have kind of dropped off the face of the earth in hockey for a while here, and see what happens this year.
All right, absolutely. There you go. We got your pick in. Michigan hockey, number 7 in the nation, home tonight for 2 this weekend with Minnesota State, who traditionally is a good hockey school.
That's Mankato State. I believe that's the former Mankato State.
What was Minnesota State at Mankato? So
I think that's what they call it.
But they kind of shorten it to Minnesota State. They're at Michigan for 2. And, of course, Michigan State at Lake State. If you're interested, there's no TV. College hockey in the early October gets buried in a variety of ways relative to exposure with everything else going on, as anyone can imagine, whether you like college hockey or not. But if you're interested in Michigan State at Lake Superior State, it's on 2 different stations tonight, WVFN at 6:07, WJIM AM 1240 tomorrow at 4. In Holt, Ray is on the Sparrow Stout on Sports. Morning, Ray.
Morning, Tim. I'm going to go with my homer thing and say Michigan State will win 31-28.
All right.
I really feel like that Michigan State last week could have done a lot better. It's just the turnovers killed them, and I'm hoping that they stay away from that this week. That they were in the game and they had the ball down. Just you can't have fumbles and interceptions that stop your momentum.
Well, to your point, that certainly stopped whatever momentum they might have had. Whether that's different tonight, we'll find out. We got you, Ray. Michigan State 31-28. Mike's in Lansing. He's next on the Sparrow Stout on Sports. Morning, Mike.
Hey, Tim. How you doing today?
Good. What's up?
Well, I'm going to give you a homer score, and that's going to be 33-27. What time does the Grand Ledge and Everett game start? Is it 7 or 6?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. We'll go on the air a little bit before that on the game 730am.com.
6 o'clock.
All right, because that's the one I'm going to. So
okay.
All right. Thank you for verifying.
There
Have a
you
good
go.
weekend.
Brock at Everett. The last time I was there, it took forever, seemingly, to get into the stadium because the police wanted all of the spectators. Do they still do that?
Yes, they do. We've done when we did a basketball game back there in the wintertime back in January. We got wanted and everything and inspected all of that.
And
so,
I bring
it'll
it
take a
up
little bit
because
longer.
if you're going to go to the game, don't expect
early.
to just walk in at 6 o'clock and you got no problem because there's
early.
usually a line because it takes a while for the spectators to be, checked before they get into the stadium for whatever that's worth. Tim's in Lansing on the Sparrow Stout on Sports Point. Tim?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. What's up?
Good. I just wanted to get a pick in. I'll let you guys talk. I'll try 38-10 Oregon.
There you go. Thanks, Tim. Have a good weekend. And we now have room on the Culligan Water Hotline at 300. Oh, we don't quite have. Oh, yeah, we do. We got room now at 340-263. You have to have the winning team correct. And then if you do, then who's ever closest from there, we put. And the price packages we have grown and grown and grown the entire fall. The one on Monday will be the biggest one that we have had so far this season. So we'll see how that works.
Michigan State grad Ryan Brem won under par 71 yesterday. He's tied for 98. The second round has begun at the Sanderson Farms Championship in Jackson, Mississippi. Tees off at 123 this afternoon. Needs a good round to make the cut.
So I have an email on him and that he plays at 123 today. And this emailer says, a side note for those in Florida, he says projected some serious rainfall projected over a 7-day duration in Florida beginning Sunday, with a projected tropical system developing next week and aiming for the west side of Florida. Experts aren't sure how strong it will be, the tropical depression or full-on hurricane. It's a threat in the Gulf of Mexico, and this is 3 to 30 inches of rain in some places. So I told Brock yesterday I picked up Doc. She got home after 4 days in Florida down there. She went down there to try to help with some cleanup. When I heard the stories and when I saw the pictures beyond what she had sent back during the week, it's just mind-boggling to me. You think you got problems. And like they said, and our oldest, they are out of their home for a year minimum. And yet, like they say, as bad as this is, it certainly could be a lot worse. And all you have to do is take a look at those pictures in North Carolina, Georgia, that area, and you think you got problems, then you look at that. And it's just amazing. Like I said to Brock, I said I wouldn't have. I don't know how I get through that. And then my sister, like she said, who's 45 minutes down the road in Siesta Key in Florida, as she tells us. They didn't get hit as bad. They're in the home, but they have damage on the lower level. Like she said, Tom's younger. They'll get through this and they'll make it back. We're older. One more time and it's amazing the damage that you don't hear about when the thing goes through, because why do we have that when we can argue about the election coming up? And then you look at the people that are in serious, serious jeopardy with their lifestyle. Through no fault of their own, just simply because of the weather. When I saw that, you ought to see the picture she brought, and that's St. Petersburg. That isn't some of the other areas, which are far. I can only imagine what northern Florida looks like. Now rain's coming in there, moving forward. In Perry, Steve is on a You Pick 'em Sparrow Stout on Sports. Morning, Steve.
Hey, morning. How's it going?
Good, thanks. What's up with you today?
I just finished the gym, just enjoying the day.
All right, good for you.
I'll take State 28-21.
There you go. Anything else with you this morning, Steve?
No, just enjoying the weather.
There you go. Have a good weekend, Steve. We'll go to Craig and Lansing on a You Pick 'em Michigan State Friday Sparrow Stout on Sports. Morning, Craig.
Hey, good morning, Jim. I was wanting to be more optimistic this week than I have been in recent weeks. I'm going to keep the score closer. Let's go Oregon 33. Michigan State 26.
All right. What else on your mind today?
Well, I mean, I haven't heard any golf talk in a while. So, and I missed the last time you guys had Dan on. So, I don't know. Is there anything that I missed in that interview that you want to bring back up again? And I'll turn it off and listen. And thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, as Brock mentioned yesterday, there are 7 smaller PGA events to end the calendar year, and the players that are struggling to finish in the top 125 to keep their tour card includes former Michigan Stater Ryan Brehm. He's in Mississippi playing in a regular PGA event. He shot a 1 under par round yesterday. The projected cut today is 3 under. And for him, where was he? He was 161st, right, on the money list?
156, I think, but you were in the neighborhood. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And by the time 7 events are done, if he misses out, then he goes to conditional status.
If he finishes in the top 150, he would have conditional status. He's got to play well enough to get into the top 125 to keep his card full time.
Steve's in Mason. He's up next on the Sparrow Stout on Sports. Morning, Steve.
Good morning, Tim. I will take Oregon 37, Michigan State 20.
All right. What's up with you today?
Not a lot. I'll let you get to some other callers.
There you go. We'll take a quick break and reload the phones on the Culligan Water Hotline. Whatever you'd like to discuss after your pick. That's always a big staple here on Friday because there are so many things going on, so many things worthy of chatter in the world of sports, especially at this time of the year. By the way, Brock, Dave Ellis texts me. He says you will see highlights from Michigan State hockey on Friday Night Frenzy on Channel 10 tonight, courtesy of Dave Ellis. Friday Night Frenzy on Channel 10 with all the high school results. So you also get Michigan State's first game highlights against Lake Superior State on hockey, courtesy of Dave Ellis, who's one of the good friends of Channel 10 in a variety of different ways. He set it up so we could carry the Great Lakes Invitational Tournament last December.
And you're going to do it again this December, aren't you?
I haven't got the formal announcement on that yet, but the talks are ongoing.
Oh, well, that's good.
More in a moment. Culligan Water Hotline 342-63. It's the Friday Sparrow Stout on Sports.
With so much in one place, Meijer is the only stop you'll need to make. Save big with weekly deals going on now. Like California red or black seedless grapes, only $1.49 per pound. Fresh from Meijer 80% lean ground beef, just $4.99 a pound. And Meijer shredded, sliced, or chunk cheese, 3 for $6. You can always count on low prices and great quality at Meijer. Exclusions apply. See these deals and more in-store or in the Meijer app.
As we like to remind you, Pure Green Smith Tree to the rescue for any outdoor landscaping issues that give you a problem at any time of the year. We're in the fall season now, and it's time to aerate the lawns everywhere. Call 703-1111 to get on the schedule because the Pure Green technicians are busy with thousands of customers. And if your trees and shrubs need trimming or removal, you be sure and call for an estimate. What a great company. Pure Green Smith Tree at 703-1111. You never know what time of year you're going to need the talented people and services of Doty Mechanical, 615 South Waverly in Lansing, one of the terrific service companies in our area through the years. Heating issues, cooling issues. You need a generator. You need plumbing help. All of that and more from the great technicians at Doty Mechanical. They carry the Carrier products. They're the exclusive distributor in the area. 327-7777, 327-7777. When you need that kind of help, call Doty Mechanical. City Limits in Mason. What a gathering place for people who've enjoyed bowling and just recreation and get-togethers for a number of years. And it's going hot and heavy, and it's safe and sound. And you ought to see all the people in the parking lot who enjoy City Limits every single day. You can sign up for a bowling league for a special occasion 7 days a week after a game, or go watch games on the big screen TV. City Limits on Cedar Street in Mason. Everybody knows where it is, and everybody loves it. You'll love City Limits, Cedar Street in Mason, too.
This is the Lansing Sports Network Minute from the Lansing Sports Network News Desk.
I'm Steve Goff. Spartan football coach Jonathan Smith has lots of experience battling Oregon and has great respect for head coach Dan Lanning.
I think Dan's a really good coach. Got a bunch of respect for him. We're not talking every day, but enjoy our conversations when we gather at meetings and whatnot. He's done a great job there, and he'll present another challenge with his team. Those guys play hard, schematically sound, and that's just the MO of his program.
The Spartans kick off tonight at 9 against the 6th-ranked Ducks. Join myself, Tim Stout, and Jimmy O'Brien as we break down the game and all you need to know with the Lansing Sports Network Spartan Tailgate Show beginning at 5:30 this afternoon. In the meantime, from the studios of the Lansing Sports Network, I'm Steve Goff. Go Green!
Find more and stay up to date at LansingSportsNetwork.com or in the Lansing Sports Network app.
This could be your favorite sports bar in Lansing. Arts Pub, Kalamazoo Street in Lansing, serving all three shifts. Downtown in Lansing, 977-1033 for questions or carryout. The menu is at artspublansing.com. Closes at 11 p.m. each day. Outdoor seating, serves great cocktails, no reservations needed. Mellow game day hangout, serving a wide menu of pub grub and pizza and a shuffleboard table. Greg Sinacropi has done a great job making Arts Pub spectacular downtown. Candy Ford in Charlotte, the home of the greatest deals on wheels. They've had that slogan for years and years, and it just keeps getting better every single day. John Dykstra says it's worth the drive, okay? Down I-69 from the Lansing area to Charlotte to see the deals they have for you. They'll get you the best deal you can possibly find on a Ford vehicle, new or used. And if trucks are your thing, okay, Candy Ford is home of the greatest Ford trucks that there are available. You're always ahead whenever you choose Candy Ford. Worth the drive to Charlotte for sure. For everyone, enjoy golf this season at Michigan State's Forest Acres Golf Courses. 2 18-hole championship layouts, a state-of-the-art practice facility referred to as the Golf Center, 2 full-service golf shops, and a full complement of services. It's a big season. For information, call 355-1635 to get a tee time either on the east or the west and get a good chance to enjoy working on your game with a variety of friends. Michigan State's Forest Acres Golf Complex for you. One of the most popular restaurants in our area for years continues that way. Woody's Oasis on Trowbridge Road in East Lansing. As the saying goes, eat at Woody's, live longer with a Mediterranean cuisine. And now the menu has some wonderful new items they're all excited about. Chicken kafta, along with their Woody's burgers, gyros, fries, and a whole lot more. For all the information, the website, woodysoasis.com, or call 351-2280. Woody's. Eat at Woody's, Trowbridge Road, East Lansing, and live longer. Oh, it's a big pizza weekend, the official pizza, the Sparrow Stout on Sports. It's the best cottage and gourmet pizza. George Hoover says we got 6 locations all over the area with a lot more on the menu besides pizza. They've done well, and they should, because they have a marvelous product, Cottage Inn gourmet pizza. And remember, it's Smokin' Big Barbecue, okay, across from the Lansing Mall. They got NFL Sunday Ticket. You can go in the bar at Smokin' Pig, watch all the games on Sunday, all the college games tomorrow. Have a good time anytime at Smokin' Pig Barbecue across from the Lansing Mall.
From Mud Ice Arena to Little Caesars Arena, we've got the sports opinions that matter to you. From the Driven Collision Studios, we make friends by accident on the Game 730 AM.
The Driven Collision story of the day, of course, it's you pick a Michigan State football Friday, all right, not a Saturday, a football Friday, of course, and the Spartans are idle next week. Then they get back in action on October 19th, right? That'll be 2 weeks from tomorrow. Iowa is in for homecoming. Iowa plays at Ohio State tomorrow at 3:30. There is no kick time yet for the next two Michigan State games. Iowa here October 19th, at Michigan Saturday, October 26th. And Lansing, Bruce is up next on the Sparrow Stout on Sports. Morning, Bruce.
Good morning, Tim. I'm going to take Oregon 38-13.
38-13. What's up with you today?
I got a 12 o'clock tea time.
Go have fun, hit them straight, okay? It's a great time to play, and today...
You know what? Even though it's cloudy, it's warm.
Well, it's going to get sunny this afternoon, though. It's clearing up.
Good.
I told it clearly will clear up. So those going out tonight for anything, whether it's Michigan State Madness at Breslin or the high school games, the weather should be fine. Lyle's in Lansing. He's on the Friday. You pick him, Sparrow Stout on Sports. Good morning.
Make a 38-13 Oregon.
That's just what the guy picked before. What? Get some cotton out of your ears there. He just picked 38-13.
I was talking to Brock.
Oh. Well, that can distract anybody, but you get another chance now.
Okay, 38-16.
That one is going to clear. There you go. What's up with you today?
Tell me more. You're pretty gifted as far as what is going on with these Indiana Hoosiers. I know the coach came from James Madison and brought 9 players with him, and he didn't really empty the bank either because they're pretty good. They cover most bets.
Well, he would tell you, first of all, they've had America's schedule including tomorrow because they're at Northwestern tomorrow. So can
they cover the Cats? They give them 13.
Oh, I don't know about that. What impressed me when I first saw them, two things. Number one, they have the best passing quarterback in the Big Ten. That's different from the best quarterback, but he may be that too. Because to me, there's a difference between a pure passer and a pure quarterback. Because a quarterback, you got to do more than just that. But he's impressive. He can throw it deep. The other thing is
who's their quarterback?
What's his name? Kurt, whatever. I think he came in the portal as well.
Curtis Rourke.
Is that? Yeah, I think that's his name.
Okay,
but they can throw it deep.
He's from Canada.
They throw it, and his wideouts have got speed. He's got speed on that team. Now, I think defensively they got a ways to go.
Here's the rest of their schedule, guys.
Well, now wait till you hear the last. The first 6 are one thing with Northwest. So if they become bowl eligible on October 5th, if they win at Northwestern tomorroall.
Nebraska at home.
Yeah,
Nebraska at home the 19th. They have a week off after this week. And then they play Nebraska at home.
I'll take
Indiana at home.
I would probably nudge it to Indiana.
Washington. I'm sorry.
So there's that.
Washington at home.
Well,
they'll win that.
I mean,
they can.
Well, I'm just going to tell you, if they win the next 3, they are going to be ranked in the top 15 at 8-0, whether they're that good or not.
Right. Okay. At Michigan State.
You tell me.
They can win that game.
You tell me.
Sure they can.
Can they come in here and beat Michigan State, especially if they're 8-0?
Yeah. Michigan at home, November 9th.
I think they got a better shot to beat Michigan at home than they do Michigan State here.
Okay.
Could they win that and get to 10?
Then they get a week off before they go to Ohio State.
And have Purdue
they got 2 weeks off?
They have 2 bye weeks, just like Michigan State
Everybody's got 2 bye weeks this year in the Big Ten.
It just worked out with the calendar, yeah.
Yes, it's preposterous, but that's what the schedule has, okay? But their last game is Purdue.
Purdue Thanksgiving weekend.
Okay, so, I mean...
And they'll win that, and they're at home.
But play out the fantasy. What if they play in Week 11, Ohio State, and they're both 11-0? I don't expect that to happen, because
But until it... Doesn't happen.
But until somebody beats them.
Right.
I'm telling you, they can. The other thing is now the one thing, first of all, what I like about this Curt Cignetti, no matter how well they play, he's all over them because he thinks they're going to get fat and sassy because they don't have football success there. And he's got a scowl on the sideline. But when he took the job, he said Indiana is prominent in almost every other sport. I'm not coming here to not be prominent in football. Which I thought, that's big, but you know what? At least he thinks like that. And to your point, you said he brought 9 guys in from James Madison. Just go look at how good James Madison is.
Exactly.
Just go look how good they are in football.
Ask North Carolina about James Madison.
Well, they only hit 70 on North Carolina on the road.
Is that all they did?
They only got 70 on them, and North Carolina had one at Minnesota. And scored 19 points doing it. All right? So they go to North Carolina and hung 70 on them. So that's James Madison.
Who's the coach at Carolina?
Mac Brown.
Mac Brown. He was a little down. Mac Brown was a little down.
Didn't he say he was going to think about resigning?
He said, if we don't get this better, I'm going to quit. Of course, that immediately started making the round, so he had to retract from 70, all that.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, if they don't get better, if you'd have told me before any of these games that James Madison is going to score 70 at North Carolina, of course you would go against that. But here's the Bear Classic.
Yeah.
They gave up 50 to North Carolina, and they got blown out. But
poor Mac.
Mac.
He was the king of the Southwest Conference at one time.
But I tell Cignetti, you know what's going to happen at the end of this season? He'll keep poaching James Madison for more of those guys. Do you think Indiana has a better chance to improve by recruiting high school football players in Indiana, or taking the cream of the crop from James Madison?
Or other schools, for that matter.
Or anybody else, but certainly James Madison, because they played for him there the year before.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see where that's going to go. A school like Indiana, later for recruiting high school later. You're not going to beat Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State. You ain't going to do that. But who can we get out of the portal? And his top playmakers are all out of the portal.
Yep.
The quarterback's good. I mean, he's good. He's not real quick, but he's accurate, and he can throw. And he throws it deep too. They can score. I mean, they were impressed. I know UCLA is, but go into the Rose Bowl and
that's the first time they've been to the Rose Bowl.
And they
since
just went up, and they went up and down a field on UCLA.
Yep.
When they come here, I don't know what the world's going to look like for Indiana or Michigan State.
Are they ranked right now?
They're getting
23rd.
They're 23rd.
Yeah.
But imagine, is it conceivable?
Tim, if they
could be 11-0 playing 11-0 Ohio State.
10-0, but I got you.
Why is that
the next to last game?
What's the 11th game? You said it was
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
No, Purdue's
8, 9,
a 12th
10.
game. They end the season with Purdue.
They would be 10-0 playing the 11th game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You said
so they'd be 10-0. That's right. So they'd both be 10-0 playing the 11th game.
If Indiana's 10-0, they'll be in the top 10.
Well, the other thing, would Ohio State kind of subliminally look past them to Michigan? Because that's the game they got to win, is Michigan in Columbus.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's just the way, that's the way
the
they
Ohio
think.
State game with Indiana, that's in Columbus.
That's in Columbus.
So they play
home.
the last 2 games at home like Michigan State plays the last 2 home games at home.
Yep.
But he, like you said, he does remind me of Coach Saban on the sideline.
Oh, absolutely. He's glowering. He's scowling. He's never smiling. He doesn't pat anybody on the back. I mean, I think remember that Tom Herman, if they got a first down, he's jumping up and down yelling and screaming. Tom Allen, because they're screaming and yelling and, we got a first down and blah, 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 the whole deal. But if they're healthy, that's the next thing. It's a lot of games down there. If they knock the guy out, I don't know what they got behind him. But I watched them play Maryland, and the thing was close for a while, and then Indiana won 42-28. They can score. I mean, they are going to score. But tomorrow they got Northwestern on there. Now, then watch me say all this and watch the Cats snipe them.
Yeah, in an ugly 16-12 game.
Watch the Cats beat them 13-12, and everything I just said went right out the window.
Like you always said, the Cats might have one good meow left in them.
Even bad teams usually have one good game.
The irony tomorrow is Northwestern's temporary stadium is basically a high school stadium. And by the way, when's the next time you're going to see a college football game play where there are more seats in the end zones than there are in the sideline? Because it looks like a soccer stadium because they just put stands in, and most of them had to go in the end zone.
Right.
So if they have a good crowd Saturday, tomorrow it'll be about 12,000 because that's all the thing seats. And they got to do
Brock's
it.
favorite coach from Penn State, if he's not ahead by 25, he gets a little surly too.
Oh, he does.
James Franklin.
But look, will Indiana become America's team? Because Indiana's not a football school.
Tim, if they're 10-0 playing, if they're playing Ohio State 10-0 and ranked in the top 10, they will be America's
this guy
team.
at Indy, he's 61 years old, and I think there are other schools that shied away from him because of his age. Look what he did at James Madison, because they play big schools and they beat him, okay? So somehow, and I got to give the guy credit. I mean, you think it's a good career move to take the football job at Indiana in the Big Ten the way it looks today, and they are undefeated. Now, they haven't played a lot of great teams yet.
No.
But they're 6-0. They're going to be 6-0 if they win tomorrow.
And the
at
two West
Northwestern.
Coast teams they're playing this year, UCLA, they've already beaten, and then they play Washington here in a couple of weeks.
But, you know, here's the other thing. The Indiana game in East Lansing is the week after Michigan. Will Michigan State win or lose in Ann Arbor? Is there a natural letdown after that game because of all the emotion that goes into it?
Yeah, because usually if they win that game, they're so happy they beat Michigan, they just forget they have another game to play.
Or if they lost to Michigan, they're so despondent with all the effort that goes into it.
They're just like, well, our season's over, we'll just quit.
I mean, I've
seen it happen before.
I remember a game when Indiana, after a Michigan State big win, Indiana came here.
Yeah.
And some quarterback named Randall, somebody.
Oh,
Antoine Randall L.
Yeah, he ran for like 500 yards.
Well, the last time Indiana played here, but the classic was the last time Indiana was here, they're down 31-14 and beat State in double overtime.
And State missed that short field goal.
The guy hooked it from 20 yards. At that time, after they won at 30, and a lot of people, first of all, there were only 25,000 people. I remember it was the weather, the storm wiped out the East Upper
Eric and
deck.
I were at Greenville in a blizzard covering DeWitt Muskegon in the state semifinals.
I'm telling you, when it was 31-14, I thought the Indiana players were going to leave. And then that guy ran the kickback for a touchdown to make it.
Yeah.
And they were just ready to quit. And the guy ran it back for a touchdown to cut it to 31-21. State misses a field goal. Indiana scores 31-31, and Indiana won it double overtime. Kind of a classic.
Hey, have a good weekend.
All
See ya.
right, there you go. Calling a Water hotline is 300-4263. Our email address is tim.stout@wilx.com. As we roll on here on the Sparrow Stout on Sports, don't forget the Munn team, realtors who do get results. John and Jan Munn, they're there for you for any real estate needs. They wish Michigan State hockey and football the best this weekend. The Munn team, you see their advertising at Michigan State events because they're loyal supporters of the Spartans. John's cell phone is 881-6623. Jan's at 282-6781. We're talking to Tim in Okemos. He's next on the Sparrow Stout on Sports. Morning, Tim.
Morning. I'm giving the homer, you pick 'em.
All right.
34 Michigan State, 28 Oregon.
All right. What's up with you today?
Well, I'm sitting in the parking lot looking at some ducks.
All right. Have a good
They're
week.
still alive. They're not getting eaten.
I hear you. Everybody's got something they do different. I always ask people, so what are you up to right now? Because when you're listening to the show, where are you? What are you doing?
I was going to ask if you're seeing ducks. I was going to ask if he was in Grand Ledge because down behind, if you're from Grand Ledge, you know, by the second island there where they have the Island Art Fair and the color cruise and all that stuff, there's usually ducks that come up on by the parking lot, and there's a parking lot there right behind the baseball field under the bridge.
There you go. We'll go to break. We can reload the phones now. There's room for you on the Culligan Water hotline at 300-4263. Our email address is tim.stout@wilx.com, and on we go with the Friday You Pick 'em. Michigan State football, Sparrow Stout on Sports.
Here's what's on tap today here on the game, 7:30 a.m. WVFN. Coming up at 12:05, Lynn Henning from the Detroit News. We're going to talk Tigers with him, and you know he's going to sneak in a thought on Michigan State football because you know Lynn Henning, that's what he does. Jim Comparoni can't come on today. He had issues, so there won't be a Culligan recruiting report today. But, you know, he'll be back on next week. You know that. At 1 o'clock, ESPN Radio. Then at 3, it's the Huge Show until 5:30. And then at 5:30, it is the season premiere, the regular season beginning of MSU hockey is there at Lake Superior State. 5:30 pregame with Scott Moore and Rob Woodward. And then on the game, 730am.com, we've got Grand Ledge at Everett. Doubting Industries presentation of high school football. Eric, Doc Love, and I will be on the kickoffs at 6 o'clock, so we'll go on about 5:45 or so on the game, 730am.com. On 1240 WJIM, Classic Rock 94.9 MMQ, it is the MSU football tailgate show. That's from 5:30 to 7:30, and then at 7:30, network coverage of Michigan State at Oregon in football. That's what's on tap. The game, 7:30 a.m., WVFN.
Quality Dairy, 89 great years serving the mid-Michigan area. If you live in this area, there's a Quality Dairy story near you for anything special, anytime of the day. Hey, it's cider and donut season. Nobody has cider and donuts like Quality Dairy. And download the QD mobile app because you'll get great savings with it. Some of the stores, of course, have laundromats and there's gasoline elsewhere. But through your life in mid-Michigan, you know doggone well over all these years, Quality Dairy there to help you and serve you in the past and in the future, to be sure. Young or old, okay, male or female, you got some pains, you got aches, Peak Performance Physical Therapy is where you ought to start first. And they've got locations now in DeWitt, Mason, Westshire Drive in Lansing, and also Grand River Avenue in Okemos. 853-6800 is the number. Before you go through all those doctors and any of those surgeries, let their people take good care of you, as they've done for so many people in the area. And hey, if you mention Stout on Sports when scheduling your evaluation, you receive a free gift when you come in for your first appointment. Peak Performance Physical Therapy. Such exciting times at iDevelopment. 65 years young in the community. The East Side growing like crazy. Matt, tell us all about it.
Tim, the east side of campus is growing. Hannah Plaza, we have new users like Chatora Grill, Spartan Edge Barber Shop, the Gaming Cantina, and iHeart Mac and Cheese. Over by Trader Joe's, Crunch Fitness is adding 11,000 square feet of space, and we're very excited about what's going on there.
More great news as usual from iDevelopment, the official printer of the Sparrow Stout on Sports, ASAP Printing at the Jolly Okemos Plaza. Plenty of parking in front. Call 349-7300. This is Ed Giles' 31st year with a company that has grown every single year. Posters and signs, they're a specialty, but even business cards or anything smaller is there for you. You want the most reliable printer? Take our word for it. You don't need to go bid anywhere else. ASAP Printing for you in the Jolly Okemos Strip Mall.
I joined the military for my kid and his mom. I miss my son a lot. One of the things with the military is tobacco, but that's how a lot of people try to deal with mental issues. Everyone's vaping constantly. After my first hit of a vape, I was hooked like that. Once I got back home from my deployment, I caught my son trying to hit my vape. That was it. I had to quit.
Isaiah started vaping to try to deal with stress and quit because of his son. Learn how he and other Californians are rising above big tobacco at undo.org.
Ozzy, the official jeweler of Sparrow Stout on Sports. Kitty corner from the Frandor Shopping Center with such convenient parking. But maybe you need some consultation. You can call Brooke Humble and the staff anytime at 332-7900. Every day is a special day at Ozzy Jewelers, the best jewelry store anywhere we say in Michigan, let alone the mid-Michigan area. The number again, 332-7900. For that special occasion at any time, Ozzy Jewelers to the rescue for you. If you're thinking about home renovation or adding or changing a deck at your home, you want Custom Built in Okemos. For more than 15 years, Custom Built Design and Remodeling has been the leading full-service design, build, remodeling company in mid-Michigan, and owner Michael Flory has built it from the ground up over the years. If you're curious about what the difference between a general contractor and a design build company is, you got to Google Custom Built in Okemos to see all they can do for you. We swear by Custom Built in Okemos, a great renovation company.
Hey, there's Matt Rhodes here at Dusty's Cellar. It's Michael Patrick Shields with Fuzzy Math, as you know. I'm here for my October 6 for $66 wine club, and this looks like there's a little trick-or-treat headed our way.
Yes, Michael, as a thank you to all of our loyal wine club members, we're offering 7 for $66 for the month of October, and you get to choose your 7th bottle being red, white, or rosé.
Do you have to be a member of the club to get the 7 bottles for $66?
You do not. This is a thank you to all our existing club members and for those who'd like to join the club.
Hey, that's a very nice invitation. So no cost to join the club, no ongoing commitments, discounts on everything you buy, wine, beer, all of it.
That's right. You got it, Michael.
I'm in for a club pack, and I think I'm going to get a gift card for a business client. How can they get redeemed?
That's the nice thing about our gift cards. They can be redeemed in the cellar, wine bar, or the tap room. Very versatile.
Oh, so they can go in the store or come on in for a drink or have dinner or lunch and that sort of thing, too. And you can join me and Matt Rhodes at Dusty's Cellar. It's on Grand River in Okemos and online at dustycellar.com.
Cheers, Michael Patrick.
You're tired of paying for subscription television, cable, whatever? You want the Antenna Men. Out of Eaton Rapids, Mike Heinze's great company. Let him put an antenna system on your home. Doesn't cost that much. You get more than 60 free channels. You're handled. For as many TVs as you want, same deal. He's got Cell Signal Pros. You want better cell signal service? He's got that as part of the company as well. Google Antenna Men and Cell Signal Pros, and you can thank us later.
Back to the best in sports talk now. We're Lansing's #1 source for sports talk. Touchdown! The Game, 7:30 a.m.
From the Driven Collision Studios, the Driven Collision story of the day, a Michigan State football You Pick 'em day. Greg's in East Lansing. He's up next on the Sparrow Stout on Sports. Morning, Greg.
Good morning, Tim. How are you today?
Good, buddy. What's up?
Well, I'd like to get a pick in. I'll take Michigan State 34-31.
34 to, let me make sure I can clear. That's cleared. You're good. What's up with you today?
Well, I'm just looking forward to football today, baseball tomorrow. Do you know, is it normal to have a day off in these short series like they are Tigers playing Saturday and then waiting till Monday?
Well, usually what happens is the day off is when you change venues, but I think
which is going to happen in this series.
But the issue Sunday is there's only so much TV availability because the National Football League's playing Sunday. There are 2 of the 4 baseball series being played, but 2 of them are not being played, and they just, for whatever reason, gave the Tigers and Indians the day off Sunday to play Monday, and then Tuesday's off.
Yeah.
Television is the issue for that. Because it's an NFL Sunday, there's not enough inventory room with all the NFL games to carry baseball.
Well, that makes sense.
There you go. They'll play. And by the way,
right,
thanks.
thank
The Monday game in Cleveland is 4:08.
Yes.
So there were 2 afternoon games, 1:08 tomorrow in Cleveland and 4:08 on Monday. Off day Sunday, off day Tuesday, and then Wednesday and Thursday if necessary in Detroit.
Times have not been announced.
Times not been announced yet.
Yep.
Dwayne is in Lansing on the Sparrow Stout on Sports. Morning, Dwayne.
Good afternoon, guys. I'm going to take Oregon 23, MSU 13.
There you go. What's up with you today?
Not too much. Just got a quick question. Has there been any follow-up on the Tucker case? And also, do you know how much MSU has paid him out, prior to him being fired? And if so, how much money do you think he has left without, just a rough guesstimate?
All right.
Have a good weekend, guys.
So he has not, his monthly salary was $750,000. That was monthly.
That was monthly?
And that ended the moment he was suspended. They never paid, since then, they have not paid him a dime. Roughly $13 to $14 million had been paid to him. Roughly $80 million is left. Where that lawsuit that he has filed claiming wrongful termination is, because to his point, we haven't heard hardly anything about that ever since the news came out several months ago that it had been filed.
And it's been more than a year since he got suspended.
So there you go. He was suspended on September 11th a year ago. So that's almost 13 months ago.
Crazy.
So how that finishes up, stay tuned. At this moment, let's give you our daily Gillespie Group Sparrow Stout on Sports High School Salute. The Gillespie Groups Join Our Team campaign is in full swing. Careers are available at the Gillespie Group. Online details at gillespie-group.com/careers or call the Gillespies at 679-7364. The Gillespies this morning are congratulating the boys soccer team at Mason High School, who won the CAAC Gold Championship last night against DeWitt. It was the top seed versus the 2 seed, scoreless at the end of regulation in the shootout. Mason got 3 past the goalie. DeWitt got 2. And the word is that Mason's goalie, Mikey Krzyzak, he made the big saves when he had to make them in the shootout on penalty kicks for Mason to win the CAAC Gold Cup. And down the road is the state tournament. Both of them are excited about the state tournament, but Mason will come in as the CAAC Gold Cup champion. With the Gillespie Group, it's not just about managing properties. It's about creating a welcoming environment where every guest and resident knows that they're appreciated. That's the mantra of the Gillespie Company for years and years. The Gillespies remind you that their Join Our Team campaign may have a career, not just a job, but a career for you. For any Gillespie question to be answered, call 679-7364. They'll give you a tour of any of their properties. And the Gillespies salute goalie Mikey Krzyzak, leading Mason to the CAAC Gold Soccer Championship over DeWitt last night in overtime. It was 3-2 on penalty kicks, 0-0 at the end of regulation. It goes in as a 1-0 win.
Yeah, a great win for them, and they'll be ready to go in the state tournament, which starts in another week or so.
All right, so there you go. At kickoff, and we got room on the Cullingan Water Hotline for you at 340-263. Lynn Henning of the Detroit News will talk about the Detroit Tigers and the baseball playoffs at 12:05.
And you know he'll sneak an MSU question in there.
So that means that we will resume picks around 12:20, 12:25. But if you're interested, we've got 4 or 5 minutes before we get to the news at the top of the hour right now. Anything from last night that well, of course, the Atlanta Falcons going overtime behind Kirk Cousins' record-setting night.
509 yards passing.
4 touchdowns and a 36-30 overtime win against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Lions are idle this weekend. They'll have their eye, though, on the Dallas Cowboys playing in Pittsburgh.
That's the Sunday night game, I believe.
I think Channel 10's got that one Sunday night. It's a big one.
That'll get a huge rating number, 2 passionate fan bases.
And then the Lions play at Dallas at 4:25 1 week from Sunday.
It'll be here on WVFN, and a week from Sunday, Steve and I will go on the air with the Lansing Sports Insider tailgate, Lions tailgate from 2 until 3:20, and that's when network pregame starts here on VFN and on 12 and on Classic Rock 94.9 MMQ. And we're going to have a watch party for that game. That's at the Nut House downtown Lansing.
So on the 620,
4 to 6, I
on
believe.
the 620 Channel 10 Sport, or whatever I'm on, whatever it is, 618, whatever they say it is, I'll have early results from the Michigan State Lake Superior State hockey game because that faces off at 6:07. So we'll have an update on that, and we'll have an update on the hockey game during the tailgate show because the tailgate show on JIM AM 1240 and 94.9 FM, the tailgate show, that goes till 7:30.
Correct.
So we'll probably be somewhere in the second period. Of all the hockey tonight, Michigan State at Lake Superior State, Minnesota State at Michigan, and in Big Rapids, the 50th season of Ferris State hockey begins this weekend. Ferris State is hosting Miami of Ohio tonight and tomorrow, and both those games are at 8:07 p.m. And Brock, listen to this. Ferris State trying to get everybody excited about hockey. Tonight's a whiteout at Ewiglaben Arena.
Avaglaben Ice Arena.
Whatever they call it.
I've been there once.
Fans are encouraged to wear white to support their Bulldogs. And get this, if you go, free T-shirts distributed to the first 250 fans at the special pregame show, along with free rally towels to the first 50 fans and 250 fans
awesome.
in the game. Now, that's just good promotion.
That's right.
Ferris State's 50th year of hockey. There you go. Steve is in Bath. He's up next on a You Pick 'em Sparrow Stout on Sports. Morning, Steve.
Hi, Tim. I overestimated Glover last week. He didn't get me the 17 points, so I'm going to say Oregon 38-17 this week.
Okay. What's up with you today? Yeah, we got to check them.
Taken.
Yeah, that is taken. There are a lot of 38 to. Yeah, that was the very first pick, 38-17.
Oh, was it? Okay, 41-17.
I think that's
taken?
clear. Let's see. 41-17 is yours. What's up with you today?
Yeah, I'm hoping that Brock will change his views after the Guardians played the Tigers last Friday. I said I thought Hinch should be unanimous Tiger Manager of the Year, and I'm hoping Brock changes his mind after this.
He's
series.
going to go down as the all-time greatest Tiger man. There'll be a bronze statue next to Ernie by this time next spring. You can just
he
see
might
it coming.
demand it if they keep winning, but no, I don't change my mind. Doesn't know what he's doing pitching wise. As far as setting up a pitching staff, but hitting-wise, he's done a great job with that.
Well, they're hitting .235. Let's not overdo that.
Well, he's done a great job of getting the most out of what he's got, which isn't a whole heck of a lot hitting-wise, which we've all seen for the most part.
Who wins the Cleveland? Who wins the Cleveland?
He doesn't know what he's doing.
Who wins the Cleveland Detroit series?
That's a good question. I think Detroit has a chance, but I think it's the pitching that's got him in the playoffs. Nothing to do with the hitting whatsoever. And I think he's done an unbelievable job with that bullpen.
Well, I think what's done an unbelievable job are the pitchers. I mean, to me, you can sit in the dugout and watch them strike all those guys out. I mean, they don't have one pitcher that I've seen that's been a bust. At the end of the year, they haven't had to take anybody out but put anybody in, and the guy's been a bust. They had a little problem the other day with Foley, but Foley's been good for them.
For the most part.
I mean, I can stand in the dugout and keep bringing in pitchers, and if they're all pitching well, then I look good. You know, and you know me, I'd immediately want a contract extension and a huge raise. And here, thanks, Steve. You have a great weekend. Lynn Henning will join us in the moment. We'll say he loves Hinch. Oh, he loves Hinch.
Hinch has a lot of people snowed in the Detroit area. They just go gaga. No,
Hinch is now
Tim, no, you don't. You thought he should have got fired last year, and I agree with you.
I've changed my mind. He's the all-time greatest manager in the history of baseball. Lynn Henning of the News will join us, and then we'll resume your picks around 12:25 on a You Pick 'em Friday Sparrow Stud on Sports.
What makes Crystal Geyser Alpine Spring Water different? We always bottle our Alpine spring water less than 1.5 miles from the spring source. And we're also committed to sustainability. That means all our bottles are made with 50% recycled plastic from 2 of our very own recycling plants. So, when you want the best water nature has to offer, the choice is crystal clear. Crystal Geyser Alpine Spring Water, bottled at the spring source. Learn more at crystalgeyserplease.com. What makes Crystal Geyser Alpine Spring Water different? We always bottle our Alpine spring water less than 1.5 miles from the spring source. And we're also committed to sustainability. That means all our bottles are made with 50% recycled plastic from 2 of our very own recycling plants. So, when you want the best water nature has to offer, the choice is crystal clear. Crystal Geyser Alpine Spring Water, bottled at the spring source. Learn more at crystalgeyserplease.com.
Warning, listening to the game 7:30 a.m. may cause excessive cheering.
Yeah!
We're the game, 7:30 a.m. Welcome to the third and final hour of the Sparrow Stout on Sports, starring Tim Stout on the game, 7:30 a.m.
Hour number 3 is brought to you by Capital Region International Airport. Lansing proud. Yesterday, the New Breeze Airways Airlines took off, okay? The first flight to Fort Myers from Lansing and Orlando. Nonstop, okay? Check, and they have discount tickets at the moment. Go see for yourself, okay? Whenever you can do it, fly Lansing first. It's so much more convenient. Apple Vacations will have 3 brand new nonstops to the Caribbean beginning in January. We always appreciate it when he get a few minutes of his time because he's busy, especially at this time of the year. From baseball superstar Lynn Henning of the Detroit News has covered baseball, 200 years, 300 years, something like that. We've got him for a few minutes on the other end of our line this morning. You're on Sea Island. Did you miss most of the hurricane? And there's more rain coming in that area? Don't you guys ever have good weather on Sea Island in Georgia anymore?
No. Man, Tim, and I'll tell you, a week ago this morning, I didn't realize how lucky we were right here at this place where you've been. They only had 15% of this island with power, and we were among the 15%. And I mean, they didn't get it back until well into this week. And so we escaped. And it wasn't anything like they were dealing with clearly up in the northern areas of Georgia and into Carolina. But it was still bad, and it was so sudden, Tim, because this had not been really forecasted. But you couldn't believe it. Last Thursday night at 11 p.m., and remember, this is an hour till midnight, I decided to go outside. Well, the winds had picked up around 50 miles an hour, I would say. And you knew it was going to be pretty good. But I'll tell you what was amazing. The temperature was 82, but the heat index at 11 p.m. was 93. That's how hot that air was blowing in off the Gulf. And I've never seen anything like that. And so you knew this one was going to be weird and it was going to be pretty dynamic. And, of course, it was just devastating for those northern regions. But we got by it comparatively easy.
I should ask you because it comes to mind. The last time I was there a few years ago, there was the grounded ship with all those cars in the bay that had been there forever and ever.
Yeah.
Is that ship still there?
No, they finally were able to get it, and that was the worst maritime boating accident on the East Coast, believe it or not, in history. There were 4,200 automobiles, Tim, on that ship that you saw out there in the Sound. They ended up getting that out. It was 2 years in there.
And they ended up getting out by bringing up a big saw from the Gulf of Mexico and literally shearing that ship strip by strip down, and I mean cutting down vertically on it, and then just carting off these strips on barges. It was the most amazing thing. But they got away with not having any kind of ecological disaster in a very sensitive area with all the shrimp and with all the wildlife. And so that thing finally cleared, but that was bizarre. And you're right, it was there forever.
And I can't imagine what the cost of that salvage operation for 2 years had to be. I mean, I can't imagine.
Well, and billions, it went into the $1 billion plus range. And, of course, what we all knew, too, there was going to be courtroom proceedings on liability that are going to last forever with that, too. The litigation is going to be through the roof. But, yeah, it was an extremely wild accident. Unfortunately, it wasn't any worse than it was.
Right. Now, Brock, I feel I owe Lynn some favors, so I'm going to pay him back right now so that he doesn't have to worry about this moving forward. I'm going to tell you how the baseball playoffs will finish this season.
He's made his predictions already.
But it isn't a prediction. It's pretty much a guarantee.
No, well, you know the deal.
All right, here you go. The Padres will beat the Dodgers. The Phillies will beat the Mets. The Tigers will beat the Indians and Guardians, and the Yankees will beat the Royals. The Yankees will beat the Tigers. The Phillies will beat the Padres, and the Phillies will beat the Yankees in the World Series. There you go. Game over. Bring in spring training.
Yeah, you probably got as good a shot as anybody at figuring this thing out, Tim. I would quibble with you on this one. I think the Padres are so good. In fact, you look at them, Tim, and you wonder how they lost a game this past year.
Yep.
I mean, they are loaded, and they've got pitching. I really think that might be my call. I'm not sure if the Tigers get past the Guardians, that they wouldn't also take down the Yankees. The Yankees are a little vulnerable, but that's not a bad call. I think they'd be everybody's favorite against the Tigers for obvious reasons. But no, I think you're close to the money. But I might go with the Padres right now because it's getting hot at this point that counts, which bodes well for the Tigers too. But the Padres look to me like heavyweight champions. I mean, my gosh, I just can't figure out how they didn't win that division.
Yeah, I have them beating the Dodgers because I like them too. But then I'm wondering, well, how far are they going to go? Are you amazed in any way that the 3 road teams went on the road for the first round and 3 of the 4 advanced, or are you not amazed at all?
No, I mean, of course I am. And then the Mets went in Milwaukee and won that thing in grand fashion last night, too. I mean, this playoff baseball has just been spectacularly good and dramatic. And the Tigers, of course, have become quietly one of America's darlings here. People like the underdog, and they like to see a team coalesce like this that isn't somebody they're fatigued with seeing in the postseason. And I can tell, Tim, from my conversations nationwide that the Tigers are really becoming big, big favorites here with a lot of people all over the contiguous 48. And that's interesting, too. But, hey, they're a good team. This is not done with smoke and mirrors. This is a team that's doing it with pitching, defense, and with enough hitting and enough people on the bases to where they're making these games count.
This is my general opinion of the year in the state of baseball, and it's pretty much close to what John Smoltz. I claim what helps the Tigers tremendously is they don't have to score a lot of runs to win. The pitching talent they have has been able to hold these other teams at bay, including from the middle of August on. I mean, Baltimore gets 1 run in 2 games. Kansas City gets 2 and sweeps. I mean, or whatever they got, Brock. Yeah. 3. They got 3 runs and sweep. And the Astros can't score. I just think the way offense is, meaning that a lot of these teams do not have hitters 1 through 9 in the lineup, that you got to worry about a couple of these guys. And the Tiger pitching is good enough, with control good enough, that they don't have to score 5-6 runs. If they can get 3 or 4, chances are they're going to win and move on. And to me, that's been their formula. Whether it continues, I guess we'll find out, unless you totally disagree with that.
No, I do. And pitching became so pronounced this year. Hitting really was difficult. I mean, everybody now, Tim's got guys that throw 100. I mean, Bo Brisky's throwing 100 for the Tigers. So hitting, which was always the most difficult thing to do in sports, got really hard this past year. Therefore, if you've got the arms, and if you want to look at the Tigers and how things differ, Tim, look at them now compared with their last playoff appearance 10 years ago, which I covered. And I knew going in the Tigers were probably going to get beaten by the Orioles that 10 years ago because their bullpen was so bad. Well, to your point, look at how this thing has completely turned around. And I also have to talk about the difference in tactics, and that is how A.J. Hinch uses his pitchers versus 10 years ago, the way a manager like Brad Ausmus would have used his bullpen. And you got to look at how much the game has changed. 10 years ago, the Tigers' best back-end reliever really was Al Albuquerque. He did not pitch in any of those 3 games where the bullpen disintegrated against the Orioles and knocked them out. And that was because Al Albuquerque, in the tradition of managers then, had a role. He was a 6th inning guy. And Brad Ausmus never went to him. Well, now look at how A.J. Hinch uses this guy. He's got them starting. They're coming in the first inning, the second inning. They're mixing and matching. They're turning over lineups. It's a completely different science now, Tim, and it really plays into the hands of the Tigers and A.J. Hinch.
I think it does tremendously because they don't have the guys he puts in, at least in the situations we have today, especially Houston, none of those guys were a weak link. It got a little squirrely there with Foley at one point, but like to your point, every guy he put in, even the new guy.
Well, Jackson Jobe, he struggled.
Were you surprised he used him the way he used him or not?
No, because for 2 reasons. This kid has 4 pitches that can defeat good big league hitters. And that's why he was the 3rd overall draft pick a couple of years ago. Secondly, Tim, they knew about his intellectual and emotional profile. They knew he could handle the pressure. Now, remember, his dad is Brant Jobe, the PGA Tour player, and has won a lot of money on the Champions Tour, et cetera. He's got all that DNA going for him, not only competitively and from a skill set standpoint, but he's also got that orientation to pitching and pressure. They knew this intuitively. They knew everything about Jobe, how he would hold up. And guess what? He only threw 1 bad pitch in that inning. He threw that first pitch cutter that just nicked Caratini, and so they sent him down to first base. And then Jobe got nothing but weak contact, which is what his pitches induce, weak contact, Tim. So you're going to see him pitch again. Now, you can't guarantee he's going to do anything heroic, but it sure wouldn't be surprising if he's indistinguishable from those other good pitchers that Hinch is using interchangeably.
Depending on how this plays out next season as spring training, how might the Tigers look the same or different? And 3 names come to mind: Casey Mize, Kenta Maeda, and Javier Baez.
Great question. Baez, in my view, has helped this team as much as anybody could have by being absent. And I mean it. I don't mean that to be cruel toward Javi Baez. He's a fine guy and has really given his all. But, Tim, he was a dead spot in this batting order in every single instance. They've replaced him now with a person of energy in Sweeney. And anybody else they want to, frankly, platoon at shortstop. That's been a big plus, not lost on the Tigers. I thought they would buy him out at the end of this year, just wave goodbye to what they owe him for the final 3 years. I think they will do that. I think this is conclusive proof that, yes, he is not going to be back. Casey Mize is still really kind of coming off his Tommy John surgery. I think he will be fine. He's never going to be a top gun, but he's going to be a good rotation piece and probably will begin to look more next year like the pitcher he can be. Maeda, that is another question. I'm not sure they'll do anything but bring him to spring camp, probably see that nothing much has changed, and then perhaps wave goodbye. But you never know with pitching. Sometimes, Tim, it can be so mercurial. Even him at 37, 38, he could come out next spring and just dazzle. So that would be more of an if, but I think Javi goes away, Mize will be okay, and I think Maeda is probably a spring training call.
And was the reason Verlander was not activated not because of his health, but because he just hadn't been getting guys out the way he did when he was with Houston earlier? Because I thought had he been healthy and had he got a start or so, that would have made it far more difficult, again, unless you disagree with that.
No, I think it was real simply explained with Verlander. He's 41 years old. And finally, the shelf life was going to begin to hint in an expiration date. And that's what you've seen with him, Tim. I mean, the idea that in 4 months he'll be 42, I think the surprise would have been, A, that he held up through this season, and B, that he would have pitched well enough to be on that playoff roster. So clearly, there's a limit here to what even a Hall of Fame pitcher can do. It's the reason that the 40s generally aren't very friendly to professional athletes, and I think that's what we're seeing with Verlander.
Yeah, but the last time I saw the Tigers play Cleveland, they handled them in Detroit, and then they went down, and I think they won 2 out of 3, whatever it was in Cleveland. Was that what it was? Something like that. So they went 6-7 against Cleveland. When I watch Cleveland, there's only one hitter in that lineup that, in my opinion, they're going to have to deal with, and that's Ramirez. Okay, but there isn't anybody. This is just me. If I'm the Tiger bullpen or pitchers, I'm not scared of any of those other guys. I'm just not. And the other thing that Tiger pitchers do that I'm impressed with, they throw strikes. Getting back to that last inning, the 4-run inning, in baseball today, Lynn, you remember through the years, how many times in the late innings did we see a million pitching changes, lefty, lefty, righty, righty, because the game's on a line? Now with 100-mile-an-hour pitchers, in my opinion, you better have lefty, righty, righty, lefty, or because it's hard enough to hit the doggone thing when it's lefty, lefty, and they're going 100 miles an hour. But the Houston manager, he had that right. How many times in that 8th inning did the Tigers get a break? The lefties were hitting a right-hander, and the righties were hitting a left-hander, and son of a gun, they scored 4 times.
Yeah, and Hinch, again, pulls the levers masterly, Tim, when it comes to figuring out what moves are going to be made in the other dugout and how he can match up with an opposite hitter. I mean, he has really shown that managing can be a spectacularly appreciable element in these games. I mean, he is as good as they get, and everybody in Major League Baseball knows this. The Tigers didn't know really how fortunate they were 4 years ago when the White Sox punted on him and hired La Russa and allowed the Tigers to have A.J. Hinch. And frankly, Tim, A.J. Hinch didn't know 4 years ago that this was going to play out better for him, too. That was not in the cards. It looked like the White Sox were a Brinks truck waiting to be held up. And instead, they've disintegrated, and now Hinch is with this team that's on an upward arc and is going to remain on an upward arc for the foreseeable future. And that's a product now of a new administration, better drafting, and all the things that go into building a championship roster. The Tigers have this thing going in the right way.
So before I let you go, the irony of this as opposed to baseball in the heyday of the playoffs, it used to be, well, we don't need 5 starters for the playoffs. You only need 3 because you're going to use 3 starters. Imagine where the Tigers, among other teams, are this far into the playoffs with essentially 1 starting pitcher and a cast of 11 or 12 others, and look where it's gotten them. Boy, has that been a change.
Well, it has been a change, and I think another change that I've really noticed this week, Tim, and maybe you guys certainly have too, this is an old baseball town and baseball state, and they had been sort of divorced from their team over the last 10 years. There's only one thing that could have superseded the Lions right at this point, and that's the Tigers catching fire in the playoffs. It's really been a phenomenon. I mean, everybody's talking Tigers, and yet you've got the Lions team is 3-1 and doing about what was expected, and yet the Tigers here have really they've overachieved here to a point where everybody's caught up with them. So it's been a lot of fun to see, again, a charter baseball city and state get its sport back here, and that is really evident, I think, this week.
One other thing. Skubal is signed through 26. Yeah. Scott Boras is his agent. Okay, I would think right now he's at the height of his marketability. He'll run away with the Cy Young Award. Does Boras go to the Tigers next season and start talking extension, or does he say, are you going to risk playing it out, or for that matter, does Skubal risk playing it out and avoid an injury? I would think that's going to be a chess game next season with his contract. And toward that end, could the Tigers bow out on him if for no other reason 6-year deals for pitchers, especially power pitchers, is an enormous risk?
The one thing that Scott Boras won't do when he's got basically a stagecoach loaded with gold is he is not going to sell early. And there will be no extensions, I'll guarantee you, Tim, offered to the Tigers, because he understands that probably health will be on Tarek Skubal's side in 24 months, and he has a chance to go $400 million or whatever for Skubal. And I think Skubal will see it that way too, because otherwise he wouldn't have signed on with Scott Boras. But they'll ride that gamble and probably make good on it. But it pretty much precludes the Tigers from ever getting involved in any kind of serious extension talks, because they'd have to offer something so astronomical that Boras would think, well, I can't do that in free agency, and they'd sign the deal. But I don't see that happening for either party.
So am I hearing you say it's probably a long shot that in 2027 Skubal would be pitching for someone else?
Oh, I think, no, in 2027 he is pitching for someone else. And again, that's because free agency, no matter how good you think it's going to be for a guy who is a Cy Young Award winner, it generally is even better and more lucrative to pursue free agency. And I'm sure that's the way he and Boras see it right now. They understand, yes, there are risks to injuries, but he's going to do just fine in the meantime, and he is likely to perhaps exceed Garrett Cole, that $300 and some million deal that he's got with the Yankees. And that's the way Boras operates. And he'll roll the dice on this, and Skubal will too, or he wouldn't sign him as an agent.
There you go. Lynn, I appreciate your time. I'm glad you've got power and you're hanging in there and all that good stuff. Hi to the family. Enjoy the weekend. We'll talk to you again soon, and I appreciate certainly your time this morning as usual.
Absolutely, Tim. Talk later. Thanks.
Lynn Henning of the Detroit News. Now, we'll go to break. We got another 30 minutes. Do you have picks on Michigan State, Oregon tonight? We'll resume all that, okay? On the Culligan Water hotline at 340-263. Our email address, tim.stout@wilx.com. Michigan State, Oregon, 9 o'clock tonight. Tailgate show, 5:30 to 7:30 on JIM-AM 1240 and 94.9 WMMQ. What do you think? Give me the right score of the winning team as we return in a moment on the third hour of the Sparrow. You pick 'em, Stout on Sports. The Emerald, one of the great public golf courses in all of Michigan, just north of St. John's. You make your plans for 2024 now. You want your outing at the Emerald for 2024. Choose the Emerald for your next special golf event and let their staff show you what a golf outing is about at 224-6287. And the Emerald is a great place to host your social events, from intimate gatherings to parties and receptions. Jay and Katie Eccleton will take good care of whatever you want any time of the year at the Emerald. Culligan Water of Lansing, so popular in so many different ways with so many people around the mid-Michigan area. Craig Prang and Culligan ready for a huge fall season, and he's here to tell us all about it.
Yeah, thanks, Tim. You know, if you're looking for something to clean up your water, whether you got smell, odor, taste, that type of thing, just give us a holler. We'll be happy to come out, test the water, give you an idea whether you want to rent something, purchase something. It doesn't really matter. Pretty much widely recognized that Culligan has the best equipment in the world, and we'll find a way to fix what you need. We'll make it affordable. I'll make it quick, and we can get right after it for you. Just give us a holler. I'll test the water for you, go over your options. You may have more options than you even think. So, again, I will make it affordable for you, and just give us a holler.
You can holler at 393-1900 or stop by at Dunkel Road in Lansing. It's such a tremendous company in so many ways to serve you. Culligan Water of Lansing. Bull Janitorial, the name to trust in the commercial cleaning industry around mid-Michigan. They offer a wide range of janitorial, custodial, and maintenance services. In addition to professional cleaning services, they also supply materials and equipment such as restroom supplies and more. There is not another commercial cleaning company you'll find that does it all for you like Bull Janitorial. They're open 24/7 when you need help. Call them 694-6642. Great employment opportunities at Bull Janitorial as well. Farm Bureau Insurance of Michigan, dedicated to serving this state and only Michigan. Founded in 1949 by Michigan farmers, members of Michigan Farm Bureau, who wanted an insurance company that worked as hard as they did, gave honest service, cared about Michigan's future. More than 800 associates to serve you, nearly 450 agents over all regions of Michigan, prepared to protect you from the risks of everyday life. Check out the ratings, and you'll find that you always win with Farm Bureau Insurance of Michigan.
This is the Lansing Sports Network Minute from the Lansing Sports Network News Desk.
I'm Steve Goff. Spartan football coach Jonathan Smith has lots of experience battling Oregon and has great respect for head coach Dan Lanning.
I think Dan's a really good coach. I got a bunch of respect for him. We're not talking every day, but enjoy our conversations when we gather at meetings and whatnot. He's done a great job there, and he'll present another challenge with his team. Those guys play hard, schematically sound, and that's just the MO of his program.
The Spartans kick off tonight at 9 against the 6th-ranked Ducks. Join myself, Tim Stout, and Jimmy O'Brien as we break down the game and all you need to know with the Lansing Sports Network Spartan Tailgate Show beginning at 5:30 this afternoon. In the meantime, from the studios of the Lansing Sports Network, I'm Steve Goff. Go Green!
Find more and stay up to date at LansingSportsNetwork.com or in the Lansing Sports Network app.
I had been starting to be sick all the time at work, so I went to the doctor. He asked if people in the office smoked. He identified it as being exposed to secondhand smoke. I decided to sue. It was worth it in the end, California being the first state to be smoke-free in workplaces and restaurants in the country.
Andrea was part of a historic movement to ban smoking in the workplace. Learn how she and other Californians are fighting big tobacco at undo.org.
The iconic Coral Gables restaurant on Grand River Avenue in East Lansing, more than 90 years young, with so many loyal customers, so pleased that Coral Gables has survived the pandemic and is bigger and better than ever. Catering, carry-out, employment opportunities, all of that at 337-1311. And the fish fries are spectacular on Friday night. When you've got some time to spare with friends and family, you know what the history's been like around that restaurant just east of the campus, Grand River Avenue. You'll always enjoy Coral Gables Restaurant, East Lansing.
Dreaming of a fun and affordable getaway? Breeze Airways can take you there. With Breeze Airways, you can fly direct from Lansing's Capital Region International Airport to Fort Myers and Orlando for just $79. What are you waiting for? Go to www.flybreeze.com or download the Breeze app to book your trip. Breeze Airways offers flexible and friendly policies, so you can always travel with peace of mind. Come and see why we were just awarded the 2024 Apex Award for Best Seat Comfort in North America. With Breeze, traveling from Lansing to fun, sunny Florida destinations has never been easier. Breeze Airways. Seriously nice. $79 no flex fare promotion is available only when booking a new reservation for LAN, RSW, RSW, LAN, LAN, MCO, and MCO, LAN. Promotion must be purchased from September 1st, 2024 through September 30th, 2024, 11:59 p.m. ET. For travel from October 2nd, 2024 through November 20, 2024. Price displayed includes taxes and government fees. Fair prices, fair classes, rules, routes, and schedules are subject to change or exemption without notice. Any changes or modifications to qualifying promotional reservations will be subject to fair repricing. The difference in airfare at the current fair price may apply. Other restrictions and blackout dates may apply.
One of the great success stories I've seen in Lansing business through the years is the growth of Desmond Ferguson's Moneyball Sportswear, founded in 2002. The former standout area basketball player already has a gorgeous store in the Meridian Mall, and his new headquarters location now at 927 West Saginaw in Lansing, it's up and running. Moneyball outfits hundreds of athletic teams worldwide, and its athletic leisure wear draws rave reviews. If you have questions, call 393-0763. You're a winner when you outfit your team or yourself in Moneyball Sportswear. Way to go, Desmond Ferguson. Moneyball, the only way to ball. There's never an off day at Royal Scott Golf and Bowl just west of the airport. Sign up now for indoor golf leagues. Same with bowling for all levels of ability. Book your parties, gatherings, special occasions at any time. And remember, Royal Scott Golf and Bowl is affordable for everyone. What a jewel for more than 50 years in our community. Thousands have enjoyed it. Okay, Royal Scott Golf and Bowl, and you can too. Fun for the whole family, to be sure. Check out now all the great ways you can enjoy Royal Scott Golf and Bowl. Dusty's, Grand River Avenue, the best in casual fine dining. Check out all the wine opportunities, especially this month on Grand River Okemos. Dusty's, 349-5150. Greg Senacropi says Arts Pub, Kalamazoo Street, wonderful, different interior. The menu's terrific. Go watch the games, have fun at Arts. Woody's Oasis, Trowbridge Road, okay. In East Lansing, Chuck Rod said we got that Meridian cuisine, the Mediterranean cuisine, not in Meridian, but Mediterranean. Eat at Woody's and live longer. Sparty's Coney Island till 2 o'clock in Frandor. Tell Dominic behind the counter we sent you. There's a few ideas. Make sure you don't get confused on Woody's, because that's Trowbridge Road in East Lansing with the Mediterranean cuisine, not Meridian.
From Spartan Stadium to Ford Field, we've got the sports opinions that matter to you. From the Driven Collision Studios, we make friends by accident on the game 7:30 a.m. 7:30 a.m.
Two other baseball stories of note in the Twins gagged it, let the Tigers and Royals into the playoffs. Twins did nothing at the end of the season. Well, guess what? The Twins today just fired their general manager, Thad Levine, after 8 years and 3 Central Division titles. What have you done for me lately?
There was a lot of people in Minnesota in Twins fandom that wanted Rocco Baldelli, their manager, fired, but that didn't happen. So they're making their GM the scapegoat for the choke that they did.
And after 1 year out of baseball, 65-year-old Terry Francona is returning as a manager, this time a 3-year deal with the Cincinnati Reds.
I'm surprised by that.
So there you go.
I think you are too.
Well, only because he said he was done with managing because of his health.
Right.
Money can do that to your health. Must be a big you pick 'em day, because out of formaldehyde, Daily Double is on the Sparrow Stout on Sports. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. I just thought I'd call and try to make you laugh a little and put in a pick. Aren't you going to ask me what I'm doing? Because you usually do to everybody. Ask me what I'm doing.
Usually it isn't a whole lot, so that wouldn't really take up a lot of time.
Well, I just wanted to tell you, since you asked, that I had a Swiss sandwich turkey with pita bread and some nice spicy mustard with fresh tomatoes, some garden with a pinch of sugar on it. Very good. While I'm going to handicap tonight's Mohawk races from Canada. And that's what I'm going to be doing while I watch the Spartans. So I knew you were going to ask. I knew you wanted to know. So there that goes.
So there you go with that.
Tim, I was thinking about something. You lose a couple teeth and everybody's worried about it as you get older. And I said, well, it makes it a lot easier to floss and brush them. I mean, that's what I found out.
Well, it's like Rodney Dangerfield says, if your teeth start to turn yellow, the best thing to do is just start wearing brown neckties. So I would give that to you. I'd like to say I came up with that. I stole it from Rodney. Who do you like tonight?
I like 42. Spartans getting beat 42-10. But just a second, I don't know if this has happened to you, but I went into an antique store and they locked the doors. They almost wouldn't let me leave. Getting old is tough.
It is.
The other day, I thought I had arthritis when I went to the doctor. He said, no, you got onset rigor mortis. And I'm going, really? Okay. But anyway, I stole a couple of those too. But, yeah, I think with the Spartans playing a late game, Saturday night, and then the flying out there and playing early, getting there early and having to play another kind of early game late, I just don't see a good outcome this week.
All right, 42-10. Take care of yourself. Enjoy the weekend, whatever it is. Dan is in Delta Township next on the Sparrow Stout on Sports Point. Dan?
Hey, Tim. How you doing today?
Good. What's up?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Spartans 34-31 if it's available.
Hang on. Let's check and see if that's available. No, it's not.
I'll say 34-30.
That's good. Anything else with you today that's on your mind?
Yeah, I kind of got to echo what you and Brock were saying before. I was a little bit surprised that the Reds are hiring Francona, not because of performance per se, but I thought when he left the Guardians that he was done managing because of health reasons. But apparently those have at least been taken care of temporarily anyway.
So there you go. We'll see how it goes. They have a good young team, and maybe they want a veteran manager.
Ellie De La Cruz is one of the best young players in baseball. He's terrific.
Steve is in Hazlitt on the Sparrow Stout on Sports Morning. Steve?
Hey, Tim. How you doing today,
I'm good.
man?
What's up?
I'm going to get my homer pick in. I'm going to say 33-28 MSU.
Okay. What's up with you today?
I was wondering if you could tell me how the MSU hockey team's looking this year. That they have a good promising talent? Are they going to take a dip down? Are they look like they're going to be continuing their good streak?
Well, I think you're going to know a lot more next weekend, not this weekend. Next weekend, they host the second-ranked team, Boston College, and they got swept by Boston College last year, but they still ended up winning the Big Ten. But you know what? Evaluating college hockey teams in October, to me, has nothing to do with how they're going to play in April, because that's how long the season is. Are the expectations high? Yes, they are, based off what they have. They have 9 new players. Are those players better than what they have? I have no idea. And I don't think their coaching staff has any idea. That's what they tell us. They can't get a handle on anything. They haven't had much practice time. On the other hand, you would guess that they could probably beat Lake Superior State twice this weekend. And then again, as I say, Boston College is here next weekend. So if nothing else, in October, you'll probably get a little better handle on them when you see what they have. Thanks, Steve. And by the way, I see that the preseason, to me, preseason All-America teams are ridiculous.
Right.
But if you go by them, they have the preseason first-team All-American goalie.
Let's take Anthony, and then we got a break because Jim Comparoni has texted me and said he is available. So for the Culligan recruiting,
he had a difficult time getting to Eugene, Oregon, but he made it. Anthony's in Potterville on the Sparrow Stout on Sports. Morning, Anthony.
Morning, Tim. I'm going to say Oregon 49-14.
Hang on, that sounds familiar to me. It is not 49-13 was taken, not 49-14. What's on your mind today?
I went to the Tiger game against the White Sox last Saturday, and we sat behind home plate in the upper deck, and those tickets were $18.65. And I looked at the same section for the first home game against Cleveland, and they're selling for over $200. It's just a shame they have to jack up the prices that much.
Well, when you haven't been to the playoffs in 10 years and there's a demand, and the demand is
Thanks for the call, Anthony.
as you know, for the playoffs. I'm surprised it's that low, to be perfectly honest with you.
You thought it would be more than 200?
Well, because Stephen Mason called us earlier this week and was looking at general admission for $223 a ticket. That didn't even get into parking, all right? So if you go, if it's a big deal to you, remember, they're going to take advantage of demand for the playoffs. We'll get the latest from Eugene, Oregon, from Jim Comparoni of SpartanMag.com. The Culligan MSU recruiting report this week has been resurrected. He had a tough time getting there, but he's there. Now, remember, it's 9:42 in the morning in Oregon. Kickoff 6 o'clock Oregon time tonight for Michigan State and Oregon. This is the Friday Sparrow Stout on Sports. It's another big sports season. It's Smokin' Pig Barbecue on Elmwood Drive right across from the Lansing Mall. They've added NFL Sunday ticket at the bar. You can watch all the NFL games, certainly the college games, on Saturdays. Open at 11 a.m. each day. Catering is spectacular. Questions at Smokin' Pig, call 582-5100. Their smoked barbecue menu is packed full of all the smoky classics, from pulled pork to ribs to spicy rib tips, and they have Lansing's barbecue favorites. Smokin' Pig Barbecue. Enjoy the sports seasons. Our friend Val Orlando has done so well with City Limits in Mason, right? Well, he also has an all-state insurance agency that you hear us talk about all the time. He has a new location now with same great service. Stop in and say hello. The new all-state office next to the Secretary of State's office on Cedar Street and College Road, just off 127. Call for information on all state insurance options at Val Orlando's agency at 969-5300. That's 969-5300, Val Orlando's Allstate Insurance.
We sit excited on the bus, the sidelines, courtside, in dugouts, waiting for our shot, driven by greatness. For decades, Dean Trailways has delivered athletes safely to their battlegrounds, not as a spectator, but as a teammate. Much more than a job, a true calling with all the purpose and performance that champions possess. Join the Dean team today and experience what it means to be driven by greatness. Go team, go Dean. DeanJobs.com.
Prestige Wine Imports, importers of a distinguished and diverse portfolio of high-quality Italian wines from the Italian Alps to Sicily. Well, they've now made their way to the mid-Michigan area, and the Sono Rosso and Mezza Corona wines are as popular as ever with mid-Michigan wine enthusiasts. You can find the Sono Rossos and Mezza Coronas at Dusty's Cellar in Okemos on Grand River Avenue. Ask Matt Rhodes about those, and maybe he'll give you a taste test. Or Horrocks on the west side. Sono Rosso and Mezza Corona wines, you'll love them.
With so much in one place, Meijer is the only stop you'll need to make. Save big with weekly deals going on now. Like California red or black seedless grapes, only $1.49 per pound. Fresh from Meijer 80% lean ground beef, just $4.99 a pound. And Meijer shredded, sliced, or chunk cheese, 3 for $6. You can always count on low prices and great quality at Meijer. Exclusions apply. See these deals and more in-store or in the Meijer app.
You need a family physician at any time for any issue. You want Lansing's veteran Dr. Thomas Jameson, who has faithfully served thousands of Mid-Michigan families for more than 50 years. He's a member of the CEMA team now, Capital Internal Medicine Associates. His office phone, 374-7600, and his office at 3955 Patient Care Drive. Dr. Jameson has helped so many people in so many ways. He gives physicals to athletes at the same time. Dr. Thomas Jameson for you.
You're not sure your knees can handle 18 holes, but I am.
You can't imagine a morning without pain, but I can.
You've never heard anybody make that sound, but I have.
I'm Dr. Michael Shingles.
Dr. Arjuna Cuddyback.
Dr. Andrew Scorfar.
We've seen it all.
And now you can see us here at University of Michigan Health Sparrow.
Mid-Michigan's nationally recognized orthopedics and sports medicine center.
Learn more and find a highly skilled specialist at ufmhealthsparrow.org/orthopedics.
Sports talk and the best play-by-play in Lansing. It's what we do. Lansing sports leader. The Game, 7:30 a.m.
On we go from the Driven Collision Studios. We have resurrected this week's Culligan MSU recruiting report with SpartanMag.com's Jim Comparoni. It looked like it was going to get scuttled because it looked like Comp had a tough time getting to Eugene, Oregon, and he did have a tough time, but he is there and he's checked in. Are you on the other end of our line, Comp?
Tim, great to be on your show. How you doing, man? I'm walking the sidewalks of Eugene, Oregon right now. I made it out here barely.
So why was it so tough for you to get there? What happened?
Delays, and then finally, just roamed in here at about 6 a.m. Eastern time, but ready to roll. It's good.
I told him as soon as he gets off the air with us to take a nap before he goes to the stadium.
Like what landed at Eugene, Oregon at 6 a.m. from where, what was the connection?
It was from Phoenix.
Oh, my golly.
I'd rather not say the airline.
Oh, my golly. So you went Detroit, Phoenix, Eugene. Phoenix goes nonstop to Eugene. Apparently it does, right?
It was an experience, yeah.
I got
to watch the Brewers blow it. I got to watch Kirk Cousins come back. There's a lot of things you can do to waste the time in an airport.
Trust me. I mean, we've had more problems traveling this summer through the airlines than we've ever had before. So I hear your pain. That said, have you been in Eugene, Oregon previously?
Yeah, back in 2014 was down here. But back then, I stayed the night in Corvallis because the hotels are cheaper when you're not in the college town the night before the game. You know how that is. And Corvallis is only about 40 minutes from here. So that's where we stayed that day. And interestingly, we were kind of surprised. I mean, ironically, Oregon State, their football team was on the road. That's why hotels were cheaper there that weekend. But ironically, that's the ironic part. The part that's not ironic is we get to Corvallis and the place, there's like nothing going on. There's like one or two restaurants open and there's nobody walking around. And I'm like, man, this isn't Corvallis. This is Norvallis. There's nothing going on here. So we're at a restaurant, we're getting something to eat. And I kind of asked somebody, what's going on? Is this a Friday night? Nothing going on? They're like, oh, it's all evacuated because of the forest fire.
Well,
there was a forest fire going on and we didn't know. We just drive into Corvallis. I mean, we could smell it. I mean, we were never in danger or anything, but seriously, the town was kind of evacuated. So that's the last time we were here, back in 2014 when Oregon beat Michigan State.
So local time there is 9:50 in the morning. Is there any activity going on with a 6 p.m. kickoff there on a Friday?
Not that I've seen yet. We're maybe a mile and a half from the stadium, and maybe we're a little bit off campus, so there's a little bit of foot traffic, but nothing going on right now. I suspect there is somewhere, but not that I've seen. But you're like you said, it is early, so and it is a night game, so nothing yet that I've seen.
So what kind of vibes do you have about what you might see tonight?
Oregon with the quarterback, Dylan Gabriel, 81% completion percentage, number one in the country in that regard. They like to hit the short passes to the short side of the field. He's got three receivers that can all go deep, but they've not thrown deep a whole lot. They'll do it a little bit, especially the first play of a drive here and there. But they will, dink and dunk it a little bit, and he's extremely accurate. So you always have to stop the run, and Joe Rossi, defense coordinator, always wants to prevent big plays, like most coaches do. He's not going to gamble too much in either regard. But I thought Michigan State did a pretty good job last week of preventing big plays. Ohio State is extremely explosive, and their longest gainer was 37 yards. That might not sound like an accomplishment, but it was. So they'll try to – I think Oregon in some ways is a little easier to keep a lid on in terms of big plays. The run game is good, and Michigan State last week against a great running attack gave up some yards, but didn't really get decimated by the running attack. So if those things travel, I think there's a chance Michigan State can prevent big plays and contain the run. And those are the first two steps toward being competitive. That being said, when you get on the road, place like Autzen Stadium that is very proud of the loudness and what they can do to visiting opponents. It reminds me a little bit of Kinnick Stadium in Iowa. And, we've seen pretty good Michigan State teams go out to Iowa and kind of get ambushed. Before you know it, you're down 31-0 and the snowball starts rolling and you just can't get it stopped. That is possible also. So there's a wide variance of scenarios that I could envision. But I'm kind of expecting Michigan State to be competitive for a while, like they were last week had it not been for turnovers. So I think it's a chance for Michigan State to show that they can be competitive against top 10 teams consecutive weeks. I know the score wasn't competitive last week, but a preponderance number of, a large number of plays from scrimmage were actually competitive. I mean, we know what an actual TKO blowout looks like against Ohio State. That's not what that was last Saturday. So see if they can kind of do that again and eliminate some mistakes and actually stay in it on the scoreboard a little longer.
Do you have any idea about the players who have injury issues or have had injury issues? Anybody do you know who's definitely out or definitely back, or do you have a hunch on all that?
I think it was reported on Twitter. I think Bruce Feldman reported that Nick Marsh is going to play. Feldman has not had scoops like that inside the program in past years, but apparently he's got some insight this year. So Marsh is going to play. He played, about 20 snaps last week. Caught a nice out route, but he was limited. That'll help. I've not heard anything about Stanton Ramil, the left tackle. They said that he practiced on Monday. Actually, I think it was Sunday. So I was a little surprised that Jonathan Smith is that forthcoming, giving us information about injured players who have returned to the practice field. Honestly, there's a little more injury information than we've gotten in previous decades. So Ramil, the left tackle, is important. Last week, Rakeem Johnson played left tackle, and he's very athletic, has a very good future. He's one of the few true freshman left tackles to ever start at left tackle at Michigan State. And he's quick and he's good. He's got a good future, but he's only 6'3", 283. And one or two times Ohio State put him on skates with a bull rush and, got a sack against him. These guys for Oregon, I don't think they're as athletic on the edge as some speed rushers you're going to see, but they're big. This guy, Birch, transferred from South Carolina. You're talking 6'6", 290. The other guy, Uayungalele, about 280. Not the quickest edge guys, but they can bull rush you, put you on skates, and drive you back into the backfield. And they see that on film with Rakeem Johnson. If Rakeem Johnson plays a lot, that's a problem. But like I said, Stanton Ramil, they said, was back in practice on Sunday. So that would help, but it's not like Stanton Ramil is a venerable all-star. He's a redshirt freshman who made his first career start a couple of weeks ago, but he's a little more physically capable against bull rushes than Johnson is. But those are just kind of the situations Michigan State's working through at offensive line.
All right. No pun intended. Thank you for the Spartan effort today. It was a tough trip to get to Eugene. Comp is there. That means Spartan Mag will have all the coverage of this game in the aftermath. Jimmy, I appreciate it. Enjoy the day. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll talk to you again next Thursday.
All right. Thanks a lot, Tim. We'll see you later. Thank
you.
There
you go. Jim Comparoni. He checked in, Brock. I can imagine going to Phoenix to get to Eugene, Oregon. That's a long time in the airports and a long time in the airplanes, but that's what happens when that kind of travel is required for people who do that and cover these teams on the road. I'll talk to you again this afternoon. I'll be in here at 6:30 to 7:30 after Channel 10 Sports at 6:20. The tailgate show begins at 5:30. We got plenty of people, plenty of opinions, plenty of coverage, okay? Brock's got the Grand Ledge Everett game, and again, that's on the internet, right?
Thegame730am.com. Yeah, tonight. We'll go on about 5:45 or so. Just be listening to that if you want to listen to that. We got lots of options, though, including the MSU hockey game tonight.
At 6:07 face-off here on WVFN. The highlights visibly will be on Channel 10's Friday Night Frenzy at 11:15 tonight. And again tomorrow. The game tomorrow is at 4 o'clock. The late sports tomorrow night would have that. So it is a huge weekend in a variety of ways. There may not be any Lions, but there are Tigers. 1:08 first pitch tomorrow from Cleveland. And then 4 o'clock, that's the first pitch for Game 2 on Monday. Also, that is in Cleveland. So let's see, what do we got coming up next? We got ESPN. Oh, I'm on him with Huge today at 4:45. He said, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. I don't know what I'm going to get asked. But he said, can you do 4:45 today? And you'll hear that this afternoon. Have a great weekend, everybody. Be safe wherever you go. If you're going to the high school games or MSU Madness, enjoy that tonight, 6 o'clock, free of charge at the Breslin Center. You've been listening to the Sparrow Stout on Sports on Lansing Sports Station. This is the Game 7:30 a.m. It's the home of the local sports shows and programming on air in the area. For Brock, I'm Tim. We'll talk to you later today. Have a great weekend. Good luck to everybody with a U pick 'em. Hope it's a big one for you. And we'll be back on Monday for the 10:05 start to the Sparrow Stout on Sports. So long.
I'm Will Tiemann, and welcome to the Michigan Sports Brief for Friday, October the 4th, brought to you by Frankenmuth Insurance. Start a frank conversation about your insurance with one of our local independent agents by visiting fmins.com. Later tonight, it's Michigan State at Oregon. Back with more in just a moment.
Just like your favorite sports team, you need a solid defense to protect your home and business. Whether you're tackling unexpected accidents, fouls, or fumbles, the Lake Michigan Insurance Agency and Michigan-based Frankenmuth Insurance are on your team. Visit the Lake Michigan Insurance Agency today at lmcu.org/insurance.com. That's lmcu.org/insurance.
First-year MSU head football coach Jonathan Smith is a West Coast guy, having grown up in Pasadena, California. His early stops as an assistant coach and a head coach were on the West Coast. Today, Coach Smith is back out west in Eugene, Oregon for tonight's game, and he talked about some of his coaching influences early on.
A lot of coaches impact kind of you as a player, but then as a coach, and you deem a lot from it. I think about previously, when I was assistant, the most recent was Chris Peterson. Coached with him at the University of Washington and at Boise State. His creativity, his clearly setting the expectation of what he wants to look like. Not always to staying the same. Always looking for ways to improve. Offensively, the background with him, he's had a heavy influence on me. Played for a guy, Dennis Erickson, coached for him as well. You talk about a guy that, aggressive mindset, evaluating talent. I learned a ton from him. My first coach as a player was Mike Riley, coached for the Beavs for a long time in Nebraska as well. He was a coordinator on both sides of the ball. He could call offense, he could call defense. And so schematically, how the game operates, I grabbed a ton from him as well. My first quarterback coach when I was playing was a guy by the name of Paul Christ, who actually was a longtime head coach of Wisconsin. Learned a ton from him on breaking down plays and how to progress through a quarterback. I learned a ton, not just from the head coaches that you work for, but other assistants who, I've been on some staffs. So these guys are now in the National Football League and doing some great things. So you draw from a lot of people.
For Coach Smith and the Spartans, one nugget on this one is the fact that Oregon quarterback Dylan Gabriel leads the nation in pass completions. He has a percentage of 81.5%. Join us tonight if you can for the broadcast starting at 7:30. And as always, the Michigan Sports Brief has been brought to you by Frankenmuth Insurance. Find one of our local independent agents at fmins.com.
Most tax pros leave a message.
It's Jane. I'm moving on to a TurboTax expert who beat your price. Adam Devine, tell him how I feel.
Hey, tax pro, she's been thinking twice. Best believe TurboTax will beat your price. This is a tax break.
Switch to a TurboTax Live expert and we'll beat what you paid your pro last tax season. Make the switch at TurboTax.com/beatyourprice. TurboTax full service only. Sign up by 12/20/2024 and file by 4/1/2025. Full details at TurboTax.com/beatyourprice.